Hello. Okay, salvage. Wow, that's not needed, is it? Not me playing not me playing Payday 2 right now.
Oh, you playing Payday?
Well, I have a few hundred hours on my laptop on it. Unfortunately, because you can't cross progress like PC and console because the games are different now because they stopped updating it and stuff and all that, and half the DLCs are unworkable on
I can't see my um chat on YouTube.
By the way, Solid, join slower so I can send the live to you before you get in here.
Ow! I just got flashbanged.
Oh, that's
Oh, I'm down. Shit. Stop flashbanging me! I just got flashbanged 4 times in a row. 5 times. I'm unable to leave the bus that is on fire because I cannot physically see. So I cannot find my way to the exit. I got flashbanged a 6th time. Finally out of that building. Holy.
that didn't that. All right. Well, I'll just live.
If you want, I can just mention some like comments that stick out to me.
No, it's my YouTube.
Oh.
What I could probably do is honestly just pull it up in my
Uh,
yeah. There we go. I can see it now.
you got Payday still, or
No, I've never played Payday. I've heard it's a good game. Um,
Payday 2 is fun, but holy shit, the amount of DLCs for like PC and that is kind of insane. I managed to
yeah.
snag basically the entire game and most of his DLCs on a
Yeah.
very good Steam sale at like 80% off, and it was still quite expensive. But then the DLCs that I didn't get were on like 40% sales at the time for all of them, so I just snagged as many as I could, and I
One
think
of
I
my
have every
computers
single one.
be taken apart.
Why?
Why? Because I have a new fan that's going in it and some other stuff like a new.
You know, the fun one of the most fun heists in Payday isn't even a heist
Oh,
because
really?
you get to cook METH. Yeah,
Absolute
all the
wild
things
work.
genuinely is such a fun one though because basically you just go around constantly collecting ingredients from the map to make it, and then you basically just have to fight off waves of cop while making it, and you can make as much as you want as long as you make the minimum amount, which is usually 3, and the longer you're there the more it has. And if you run out of materials, you just call in the chopper to drop more materials for it, and then you just keep cooking it. So you can go as long as you want on that one, and you can farm that for so much money in XP. You put it on like not too hard a level, but say like hard or very hard, which surprisingly are some of the lower levels of the game. You can farm a shit ton of XP and stuff from that without really sacrificing the chance of losing it all within a minute.
Andy, can I get age and pronouns, please?
My age is 22. Sorry,
Oh, my favorite.
sorry. I was just doing something.
So, what are you here to talk about today?
Well, I'm here to talk about the topic.
Yeah, what's your disagreement?
Huh?
What's your disagreement with it?
Um, what do you mean by cisgender healthcare being a human right and transgender healthcare being a moral crisis?
Well, I think both should be treated equally as a sort of like, you know, maybe not if it's not a human right, it's like a virtuous thing to offer to individuals. Like we should give people access to healthcare if we can. And there
So, what
shouldn't be a
is
difference.
cisgender healthcare?
Yeah, so
What is
it's
cisgender?
just healthcare for cisgender people. And more
Like
in
what?
particular, it's things that like, um, the difference would be like, most insurance companies, most people would, support covering, breast reduction surgery for somebody who has gynecological.
Yeah, but that's a medical condition which, like actually can hurt your back and like affect your daily life. But I mean, I mean, you can do when it comes to the transgender thing, like things that they do. You can do what you want as an adult. I agree. Like if you're an adult, I don't really have any problem with you wanting to modify your body to look like the opposite sex. You can do whatever you want. I don't have an issue with it. I think people's main issue with the transgender healthcare is giving it to children because children cannot consent. And yeah, and also a lot of these like cross-sex hormones are quite harmful, especially if you're someone that's taking testosterone. It can be very harmful to the female body and can give you, all sorts of side effects. I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day. You can do that to your own body as an adult, but I don't think anyone owes you that. Like, I don't think it should be covered by health insurance because it's not a need for your health.
Well, we do understand that it leads to like better satisfaction and mental health outcomes.
There are other things that lead to better mental health outcomes on the road that we don't always ensure. Like, we don't always cover. Like,
Well, I mean, it's just because it's not covered doesn't mean that it shouldn't be. Be clear about. Like cover, we don't coverage isn't like the isn't truth tracking. Like it could be covered. It could be you could have something that's not covered. That's would be considered life saving, and that like morally there's no reason not to, or like
mm,
ethically, or like there's no actual reason other than an insurance company decides not to cover it.
I
Versus
honestly, yeah, go on, sorry.
like whether or not we should offer care to like for these surgeries and or medications and that kind
I personally, well, I'm British, so we have the NHS, and I think some transgender healthcares are like free. You can get them done. I think there is a long waiting list, but it's still possible. I honestly think the whole like covering thing is again that you have to talk about America's healthcare system and all of that. And I don't really want to get into, why America you have to pay for your healthcare. Like you have to pay a lot of money for your healthcare in America. But in the UK, I'm pretty sure that things like that when it comes to transgender healthcare, I think it's covered.
of. Hmm.
So I personally don't really care. Like if you're an adult and you want to get testosterone, I have no issue with that. Even if it's free under the NHS, I don't really have an issue with that. But there are some problems. Like a lot of these hormones can end up in our like water supplies and stuff like that, which isn't healthy for that now starts to affect other people. But the thing is, it's not just hormones; it's just everyday medicines that people take, tablets and drugs and stuff like that, that affects water supply. So it's not just testosterone. But me personally, I don't really have an issue with it being like with healthcare being done for people, like even if it's cosmetic things, like because there's some cosmetic things that are allowed in the NHS, I think, or something like certain nose jobs or boob jobs and stuff like that. So I don't really have an issue with it. For me, my main issue with the transgender healthcare is giving it to children. I 1000% disagree with that. I think it's wrong. If children can't consent to that, I don't think they should be able to consent to things that will quite literally change their life. I think they should wait till they're 18 to consent to those things. But that's my only issue with the
Yeah,
healthcare when it
like
comes to transgenders.
clearly kids can't consent to things. That's very clear. But like it's
Hmm.
not consent in this case. It'd be like medical assent. That's the reason why children who need like heart surgery get heart surgery.
Yeah, heart surgery is a need, but I think sitting here and saying that it's okay for a child to take cross-sex hormones and if they don't get it,
Well, it's simply
sorry
the
about that.
fact that like we understand that this leads to better mental health outcomes, life expectancy. That's the reason why we do
It
all.
actually doesn't, though.
Yeah, except for if you look at like the analysis of all the data of like all the published data on whether or not gender affirming care helps or not, for the last like 20 years, it's all the studies say that it clearly helps or has no impact. And none of the studies show that it has like a negative impact with all of them like basically saying that the regret rates are very low.
Yeah, they might not regret, but the thing is, for example, if you're someone that's trying to, you're a female and you're trying to like look like a male, you're gonna have to take testosterone, and that will decrease your life expectancy. Testosterone is a very harmful hormone, and especially in a female body in large amounts is extremely harmful. So I think giving that to a child when they can't consent is just absolutely wrong. And yeah, their mental health may be better, but their life expectancy is going to be reduced, and that's just the reality of it. Like, and I just don't agree. I just don't understand what's so wrong. And also, if like, because a lot of transgender people say that, oh, it's got nothing to do with wanting to look like the opposite sex or just being the opposite sex, then why do you want to give these kids hormones so badly at such a young age? Because if you don't even have to pass, then why do you need to give them? Why can't you just wait till 18 to give them hormones if passing isn't even necessary to become the opposite gender? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it shouldn't be
Yeah,
an issue. You can wait till 18.
yeah. So the only times that I think anybody's like actually really saying that individuals should be able to access um hormones, especially at the ages of like 14, 15, that kind of area, are when individuals have like a clear clinical diagnosis of gender dysphoria.
Mm, right.
Like
So if they have a
they're
diagnosis of gender,
this is like we're actually just treating essentially treating the symptoms of gender dysphoria, and
okay,
trying
what
to
happens if you
alleviate
had
the problems.
right? So what happens if you had nose dysphoria and you don't like how big your nose is and you have to get a nose job, and if you don't, you will unalive yourself. And that person that wants a nose job is like what, 13 years old, and they want a nose job for that reason. Should they be allowed to get a nose job
Yeah, so if
for
there's
that
like
reason?
clear medical, you know, literature saying that hey, this is, we've seen that this leads to much better, life expectancies, then absolutely we should be doing what's like actually, shown to help individuals, not what,
So what happens if
is
someone
known to
had
cause
race
harm.
dysphoria? What about race dysphoria and they wanted to look like the opposite race because they don't like being the race they were? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. So if this is like something that yet again is like medically, well understood, but like it is with gender dysphoria, then yeah, I'm just going to be consistent about but it's not. None of these
So
conditions
you're
are
okay
are,
with
are like
like no, there
medically
are people with
recognized.
race dysphoria. There are many people who don't like the race they are and want to be a different race. That definitely exists. Just because it's not talked about in medicine, that doesn't mean it exists. There's many self-hating people in the world. But I'm asking you, would you be okay with children? Let's say there's a black child that doesn't like their race and wants to look like a white person. Would you be okay with them taking like doing things like medical things when they're under the age of 18 to deceive people into thinking they're a white person, into
I,
looking like a white person? Would you be okay with that? With that happening, with them
I
making
don't
that
really
decision? Like,
care what.
genuine question.
Yeah, so for first off, this isn't something that like we under like there's this is just not analogous at this point because
It
there
is,
isn't
it's
like
very
medical evidence
analogous.
that suggests that this offering this type of care would lead to better
So
results. At
do you
least
need
I'm not
medical
aware of.
evidence to
Yeah,
right, do you need medical evidence to understand the fact that there's some people that hate their race and want to be a different race?
no,
Do
I'm
you need
totally
medical
fine with
evidence?
that. But the way that we go about treating these conditions are very different, based off of with gender dysphoria, we understand that it's something that's completely different than like schizoaffective disorder. Like we
Yeah,
understand
but the
that
thing
the
is,
way to treat these problems are to actually, essentially change the body, not the mind. It's one of the few conditions where we actually will do this.
it is analogous because what you're saying, because gender dysphoria is basically the sex you were born as. You do not like it. It gives you, it torments you, and you want to look like the opposite sex. It's the same as race. You can be born white, for example, and you don't like it, and you want to be East Asian, and you want to look like an East Asian person. It's definitely analogous because it's both things you were born as, and you may not like it for whatever reason, and it torments you and you want to look like the opposite. So why is it that you support one kids wanting to look like the opposite gender, but you don't support kids wanting to look like the opposite race? Like, I'm really trying to understand, because we've established that there are many people who hate their race and would like to be the opposite or a different one, but for some reason you can't, like, it's like you can support the gender one but the race one, you're saying, oh, there's no one in medical schools have like recognized it, but we all know there's many people who do not like their race and want to be a different race. So why is it that you can't support the race thing but the gender thing you're okay with kids having cross-sex hormones or whatever surgeries they need to get to deceive people into thinking they're the opposite sex when they're not? Like, I really want to understand why you guys can't answer this question. Why is one okay and not the other?
Yeah, so there's one clear difference here is that like there's actual medical evidence. We have research
Oh my
that
lord.
actually shows that this leads to better outcomes. I am not aware of any evidence that's just that like racism or racial uh people like they exist and have this, you know we have no like research to
But
show that affirmative care would
we've
actually help in the
established
long run.
we've established that there are people who hate their race and want to be a different race. Look at Ollie London. He's a white man and he's trying to look like an East Asian person. There's Rachel Dolezal. Like, there's so many people out there who do not like their race just because it's not recognized by medicine. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I've given you examples of it existing, and there's many more people out there, young kids who grew up, who probably still are, like, don't like their race and want to look like the opposite. So why can't you support them looking like the opposite race and going through the medical treatments in order to look like opposite race? You keep saying it's not recognized, but I've given you examples of trans people who don't like their race and want to be a different race, but you don't want to support that. And that may help their mental health. Maybe getting lighter skin may make them happier. Would you allow kids to get like things to stop them from producing a lot of melanin, or to get whatever, like change their hair, even if it like can cause, even if it has a bunch of side effects, to change their hair to make it straighter, to make it curlier? Would you support that? Would you tell a black child, yes, I'm gonna let you like get all this medical treatment to look like a white person? Or would you tell them you should love yourself the way you are and you shouldn't have to go through all of these things to look like the opposite race, because what you were born as, you can't change it, and you should just love yourself for who you are? Like, I don't understand why it's telling a child that you should chop off you know, your chest and take a bunch of life expectancy reducing hormones to be something that they're never going to be. Like, I don't understand why that's even encouraged. Why can't you just talk about self-love? Because there's many things I don't like, but I don't have a right to change something that cannot be changed. There's some things that are immutable and you can't change it. You can't change your gender. You can't change your sex. You can't change your race. You can't change your species. That's just a fact. You
Well,
cannot
yeah,
change it.
so
You can,
you can change aspects of how you present sexually. Like you can change your
yeah,
hormone profile. You can change your genitals to some extent. You can change some of this stuff. I agree that's not like necessarily changing your sex, but it is changing aspects of it. And that's
yeah,
what's
but
going
so,
on.
right. So would you allow let's say a white child who has, like, who doesn't like being white and they want to be Asian, would you say to that child, yes, go get surgeries to make your eyes look like a East Asian person's eyes, or to like tan their skin and get in a tanning bed? Would you support that? Genuine question. Even if that would make them happier, would you support them doing that?
It would really come down to like what the evidence would be to supporting it versus not.
Because it will make them happier. Their mental health will be better now that they look more like an East Asian person. Even though they're not, they'll look like one. Would you support that happening? A child going through that, would you?
Yeah, if there's like some clear like medical consensus that this is what would lead to best mental health outcomes or life expectancy, then yeah. But like I don't see that that's the case.
That's the case. That is the case. There's many people that would be happy or looking like the opposite race
Yeah.
or being the opposite race.
Do we have any sort of evidence that actually like shows that there actually
I
been any
gave you
studies?
examples. I mean, I don't have any like studies on transracial people, but I gave you examples of people who have tried, like Rachel Dolezal and what was that other one? Ollie London. Like, would you not tell that child you should love yourself for who you are? Like, instead of saying supporting them to do all those things, even if that might make them happier, but that's just like I don't understand why one's different and the other one isn't. Like, I just feel like, I mean, at least you're consistent in your craziness, but you know, it's
Well,
still
yeah,
wild.
I don't see that there's any sort of evidence on that. Like for transgender people, we have like literally decades of research that shows what's the best way to treat individuals, and it turns out just treating them as human beings and believing them is often what's best for them.
Yeah, no,
Um,
no one's not believing them. I know that there's many children out there who do not like the sex they are and want to look like the opposite. But we can't just be saying yes to everything. There's so many people out there who don't like the race they are and want to be the opposite, or even don't like the species they are and want to be the opposite. That doesn't mean we're going to just sit here and say yes to every single person just because they don't like something. Like, we got to be like realistic here. You can't always get everything you want, and you just have to be realistic. What you do at 18 is your choice, but sitting here and allowing a child to do all these medical things because they don't like their sex and they want to look like the opposite sex, I 1000% disagree with it, because what more things are we going to let slide?
yeah, so
What about the
you're
kids?
literally saying that we shouldn't allow it in things that are known, that have shown to lead to better life expectancy.
And it's also
And
been
then
shown that testosterone reduces your life expectancy. Why do you not care about that? It
yeah,
literally does.
I
High
understand that it
testosterone.
does. If it's outside of like normal limits, it can cause issues. These are things that are going
Yeah,
to
but
be
the thing
talked
is,
about.
it's good
All
when it
medications have
when
side
you
effects.
yeah, but when you're male to sorry, female to male, you're taking a large amount of testosterone that is not good for the female body. Even women with PCOS only have 2 times the testosterone than an average woman, and look how many problems that causes for women. When you're female to male, you take way more testosterone than a woman with PCOS. Why are you supporting something that is literally known to reduce your life expectancy when it's in high amounts in the female body? Why would you support a child taking those hormones just because it might make their mental health better? What about their physical health? Their life expectancy is going to reduce. That amount of testosterone in the female body is not good for you. It can literally cause you cancer. It's not good for you. So
Lots of
why are
things
you
cause
support? Why
cancer
is
too.
one?
Be clear about that. Like cancer is
Yeah,
such a
I know a
broad
lot of
thing that
things.
like lots
Yeah,
of
but the
things
thing
can.
is, yeah, but the thing is, yeah, I'm not saying that they can't do those things. You're the one saying that like they can do those things, but a child can also consent to that life changing thing.
Hell,
What you do as an
chemotherapy
adult is not
can cause cancer, and it's like
chemotherapy.
yeah, it can
Yeah,
cause cancer.
chemotherapy is need. Yeah, it's needed though for your health,
I mean, not necessarily.
or
That there
you
are
will,
cases
or
where
you will
people
literally
have
like.
like sudden remission of cancer. This isn't like 100% of a thing. It's for the
But the
same
thing is,
reason
you
that we allow transgender individuals to get care. It's for the same reason that we allow people who have cancer to get care. Is because we understand that the expected outcomes outweigh the potential risks. And
yeah, I don't have a
they're
problem
better
with
than if we do
transgender people.
nothing. So
Yeah,
this
but the thing
applies to
is,
minors too. Like we understand that
yeah,
this is gonna lead to better outcomes.
yeah,
Like
but
the
the thing
risks.
is, right? If you don't get your cancer treatment, you can literally, be unalived without getting it. Like, you need it for your health. But sitting here and saying, a child saying, "Well, I'm gonna unalive myself if you don't let me get these surgeries," is just ridiculous. Like, I'm so sorry, because they're not gonna spontaneously combust. Like, that's not gonna happen. So like it's not the
Yeah,
same,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm not
right?
saying that the
So it's
people
not.
are like gonna just explode if they don't get their care. It's that they're gonna live happier lives and be more fulfilled.
Yeah, so why can't they
and
just wait till 18 to do that? Like, I'm really trying to understand what the issue is with why you guys trying to force kids who are 13, 11, 12, taking all these hormones. Just wait till they're 18. You guys even said that
I don't want
passing
to
isn't
force anyone
even.
to do anything. Let's be clear about that.
But you're okay with it happening though,
You're
and
the one
that's
who's
my
trying to
issue.
force people to go through like.
I'm not forcing anyone.
Yeah, so by restricting access, you are therefore forcing individuals to not have any choice.
I'm not. They do have a choice when they're 18, when they can consent, when they're adults, they can make their decision as to what they want to do with their own body when they're adults.
Yeah,
But to sit here and give a child that when they're not going to,
Oh, okay, so
you
then
know, be
then
unalived.
little Timmy, who's 13 and growing breasts, he's got to get mocked all the way through school, because he's growing breasts as a male, but he's
Okay.
got to wait till 18 in order to get that removed.
What about little Sasha who you know might have dark skin and she doesn't like the fact that she has dark skin and she wants white skin. So and she said if I don't get white skin now, I'm gonna unalive myself.
Yeah.
We can all say the same things for different things.
Well, at that point, I would actually say that they need like serious help, and they should see a
Yeah, they would
counselor
need
and
mental
look
health
at
help, but you wouldn't be.
and look at what the medical literature says. This is I'm consistent about this. We should look at the medical literature.
I do also
Yeah, you
say,
can.
Hey, go ahead, Sal.
going off of medical literature, there has been a couple things of misinformation that gets just said. Because by how our current medical consensus is on the classification of sex, sex is mutable.
Yeah.
How is your sex mutable? Can you become the opposite sex? Is what I'm trying to say. Can you be the opposite sex? Can a male become a female? Can a female become a male? No, that's not possible.
Yes.
You can change your secondary sex characteristics to make it look like the opposite sex, but absolutely zero males can become females and absolutely zero females can become a male. That's impossible. And that's just the
You
truth.
can
Whether you look
actually
like a
change it.
female, no, you cannot. You cannot become the opposite sex.
Yes,
That's impossible.
yes, you can.
No, you can't.
It's
Okay, so now I know
possible
you're
because of
just
the five
talking shit.
secondary or the 5 sex characteristics.
You could also
By the
Secondary sex.
definition of a cluster concept, if you do not fit into the cluster concept, you are not part of the cluster concept.
Do you know what sex is? It's about your it's your reproductive like strategies. It's basically about whether you produce eggs or sperm. There is absolutely zero males that can become like be born a male and then just become a female and start producing eggs or be in a part of the group that produces eggs. Absolutely
this is just a
zero males can
scientific
do that.
limitation currently, but I guarantee you in 100, 200 years overcome, because of due to how
Yeah,
we're
but I'm
like.
talking about today.
Yeah, I don't
Today,
care
in this
about it today. I care about like
Why not?
what's possible and like our understanding of it, because I mean, yeah, we got to base some things based off of what we know about today, but at the same time, like this argument just doesn't hold up because it's going to change over time.
Yeah, but it hasn't changed though. And it's going to be very difficult to get a male to start producing eggs. How are you going to do that? Like, how is
Yeah,
that even possible?
You could grow ovaries and then implant them into have a transplant in. There's lots of ongoing research
transplant
into
into the-
growing like organs outside of a body.
I mean,
Like a
I'm pretty sure they've tried to do that before and then their body like rejected it and then they like were unalived.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that particular like any actual cases trying to like with a donor, but there's a lot that like the body does whenever it rejects organs and that kind of stuff. I know it deals with like blood types and sort of like times with genetics. But so I'm not exactly sure all the like actual hurdles that you would have to overcome. But that just doesn't mean that like this couldn't be changed.
Yeah, we can say that
Also-
about anything. We could say well, humans can start being able to breathe underwater so now they can identify as fish. Like it's just
Well,
ridiculous. Like
We are
Anything could
We
happen.
are descendants of.
yeah, but we're not fishes right now. Like you're not a fish.
Yeah, sorta. I mean, it kind of depends on what you, if you going based off of taxonomic classifications. I guess we'd be more like apes, but our ancestors were in fact fish.
Right.
Also, I
I
want
mean,
to
that-
also say,
Our descent.
transracial is not the same as transgender, but
Yes,
race.
it is.
Transracial
It
is
is.
actually a
It is.
racist thing that arose in,
And
I believe it
transgenderism is
was
sexist.
the 80s, where
Transgenderism is
where
sexist.
white people, racist white people, would adopt black kids in order to strip them of their culture.
Transgenderism is sexist, and so is transracialism is racist. How come
And
you can recognize
trans
that being
species
transracial
So
is racist?
only exists in the world of homophobia and anti-furry.
Okay, right. So how come you can recognize that being transracial is racist, but you cannot recognize that transgenderism is quite literally sexist?
yeah, I don't
Like
see any
how? Because
transgender people like using it as a reason to go after members of the opposite sex. I don't
no,
see that.
you trying to sit here and
It
say
doesn't
that
make
a male, the same people that oppress females can now get surgeries to look like the opposite sex and enter our spaces and use the pronouns that are used for us. If you support that, then you are sexist. It's very simple. Can you imagine supporting white people who oppress black people into looking like a black person and then taking things for black people and saying I'm more black than you?
yeah.
That's how ridiculous it sounds. I've seen some of them say they're more of a woman than actual woman. The same men that oppress us, some of you guys are saying that these men cosplaying as women are more women than actual women. Like, you sound ridiculous. And if you support that, you're 1000% sexist. If you support them entering our spaces, you're a sexist. If you support them
Yeah,
using the
so
pronouns for
how does
us,
that
you are
make
a
them?
sexist.
How am I viewing that like individuals as like or not as worthy?
So do you understand that
Because that's
males
what
up
sexism is it's like to see somebody as lesser based off of their sex.
yeah, do you understand that
I
males
don't
oppress
think that.
females in this society?
Yeah,
So you don't think
yes, but it's not sexist. Like you just like conflating what the word sexist
you're
means.
not let me
Like it's
let me
racist
finish what I'm saying.
to say that anybody is lesser than anybody else because due to their race.
But I
Like
have seen many people who support transgenders saying that this person's more of a woman and than actual real women.
yeah, it'd be like genderist if
Can you
anything.
imagine if we did that for anything else?
Yeah, that'd be
Can you
genderist
imagine if
if
we did that
anything
for anything
else.
else?
Let's
Yeah,
be
but
clear about that.
sex and gender
Um,
are related though.
yeah, and
They're
I'm also
related.
against people being like genderist in this. We shouldn't be putting down individual or seeing individuals as lesser because of their. But
Do
that's
you
like your
support trans
position.
women in women's spaces?
It
Do you
depends on the
support that?
circumstance. Generally,
Like in
if
women's
there's
supports?
yeah, so if there's generally like access to still private spaces, like if you're in a changing room and there's no divisions, probably not right now. But like if there's a like individual changing stalls, then I don't see any. Same with bathroom.
So that
There's
it's no
if
longer
you
a woman's changing room. It's now a mixed gender changing room.
well, it's still woman. I would consider transgender woman.
What is a woman?
Yeah. Under my definition, I would generally hold that they're gender adult human females or transgender adult human.
So a male and a female can be a woman,
Yep.
and a male and a female can be a man.
Mm-hmm. It's after their gender. If transgender cis.
So what makes you transgender is basically do you have to just say I'm transgender, or do you have to actually have like a medical
Yeah. So
like analysis to say you're trans?
there's some like weird complexities here. When you start talking about this, like in some senses, like there are like some reasonable barriers that you would like have to say like we can clearly weed out that there's going to be bad faith actors here. But I wouldn't say that a majority of these individuals are going to be bad faith. Um, and there's like when we're talking about things like gender dysphoria, it's like the actual problem that only exists if there is like a discomfort. Um, so like it's really hard to say that there's like any sort of like diagnostic criteria of like what gender you are. It actually is like the very same problem that like you can't actually tell. Like there's no objective criteria to be able to say that a male is a male or a female is a woman. It's just arbitrary.
I mean, yeah, we as humans decided that we just given a formal way of saying, and so instead of saying an adult human female, we just call them a woman. That's literally all it is. It's just a formal
Yeah,
way of saying an adult human female. It's like the
it's
word
semantically useful.
cockerel.
It's semantically
It's just an
useful. That's
adult
the only
human.
reason why that we've done it.
Yeah,
There's
like a cockerel is just an adult male chicken.
yeah, so it doesn't, but by changing the meaning of a word, it does not like reduce them like to them as a lesser. It in
Yeah,
fact
I'm not
is
saying that.
just in fact being so stagnant in like the way that we define man and woman actually I think leads to far more.
No, I don't think it's oppressive to recognize that women are adult human females.
Yeah, based off of what?
It just is what it is, based off of biology. What's wrong with that? It's like
Yeah,
I,
humans
so
are Homo
social
sapien.
construct, which is by like the very nature of social constructs is to not be based off of natural, based off of social thing. It's based off of a
Being a
natural
woman is
thing.
not a social construct, though.
Yeah, so
Being a
so
woman is
woman
not a
is a
social construct.
gender. Genders are social construct.
Yeah, when they say in psychology, when they say gender is a social construct, they're talking about masculinity and femininity. They're not talking about actual human being, adult human males and adult human females. They're talking about masculinity and femininity, the roles that are assigned that are typically assigned to adult
Yeah,
human females or adult human males. They're not
this is
like
misunderstanding.
an adult human female, how can an adult human female be a social construct? They're real human beings.
Yeah,
That
so
doesn't make any
gender,
sense.
the idea of what a gender is, like the idea of what a woman is socially constructed. It's not based off of being an adult human being. It's historically been that way, and that's because of how the societies have. It's the society creating it that creates gender. It's not like sex exists like in some sense naturally. Gender does not. It only exists within.
Yeah, gender is again is the formal way of how we basically say someone's sex and their age development and all these things and their
Well,
species.
no, not
But
necessarily.
the thing
That's the
is,
problem.
regardless of whatever words we use, adult human females are always going to exist. And why can't we as adult human females have things that are separate from adult human males? Why is
Yeah,
that an issue for you?
there are still like things that you have like separate. Like you still have the word cisgender woman. Like that is something that you're always going to be like something that you. I guess you could be a
Yeah,
transgender
but
male
you
or man, but it's like in like we have the word female for a reason. We have the word like it's
well, even
just
she, her pronouns, you guys want to give that to males. That doesn't even make any sense. You can't use it, it starts to not make sense once you start giving them, once you start trying to change the English language to allow males to like be seen as females. Because once you start calling a male she, her, then you'll be like, then people will be like, what's the issue with them coming into our spaces? Because it's a she, but it's not a she, it's a he that wants to be a she. But the thing is, a he can never be a she,
yeah.
can
So
never
what
happen.
like what's the contradiction? Like that would be the you would have to find like some sort of contradiction in order for me to believe. It's like this is something
What
that
do you mean
isn't.
by contradiction?
Yeah, pronouns are entirely socially constructed. That's part of language. Language is by definition socially
Yeah.
constructed. Well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's used to communicate with other members, like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Pronouns are like a shorthand for nouns, um, and therefore like they're just entirely based off of what a society deems them to be. There's nothing like anchoring them to like there's nothing anchoring he to male or she to female. It's just historically been the case.
But if we use he and she for both male and females, right?
Yeah, we're not talking about sex though. We're talking about gender. We're talking about the the socially constructed ideas. What a man is and what a woman
Sorry,
is are
I
entirely
got a
socially
phone call. I got a phone call. Yeah, so when you start using she, her pronouns for males, it stops the distinguishment from males and females, and that can cause issues for females and our safety and our separate spaces, because feminists did fight for separate spaces away from males. So if you're now giving them our pronouns and then allowing them into our spaces, the same people that oppress us, right? For example, in South Africa there was this recent, like, they were talking about femicides in South Africa, and a lot of women in South Africa changed their profile pictures to purple, right? To, talk about the femicide and things like that. And with like those same men that are oppressing them because they're being oppressed based on the fact that they're a female, not because they identify as a female, because they are born females.
Yeah,
Those same men,
they're getting, oppressed because of their sex, not because of their gender.
yeah, but the thing is, you're again, sex and gender is related. Like a woman, even you yourself said that
Eh,
a woman can be a cisgendered female.
sorta.
So
Like, there's
you
nothing
relate gender and
necessarily.
sex.
It's just been historically been. It's just that most societies have deemed sex and gender to be,
Right. So they're
parallel
being
to each other, but that doesn't mean that has to be the case, or even should be the case.
so yeah, so they're being oppressed based on their sex.
Yeah, not the
So, but
gender.
the thing is, you think
But
there's
changing the word woman does not change, the fact that they're being oppressed for their sex. I agree. I don't think people should be oppressed for their sex.
how can you be oppressed for your gender if you're not being oppressed for your sex?
Yeah,
Like
you
it's the
could.
same thing.
Yeah, like
Because
if
when you say
transgender
women in
people
South
are.
Africa are being oppressed, who are you thinking of? When someone says women in South Africa are being oppressed, are you thinking of people like Lily Tino? No, you're thinking of adult human females. So
Yeah,
when someone says women in South Africa are oppressed, you're not thinking, oh wait, I have to wait till they identify as women to see if they're oppressed. No, it's adult human females that are being oppressed.
yeah,
That's
we
it.
can take a cultural understanding of what they see as men and women and apply that here. This is not a problem.
How what in South Africa, men and women is based on your sex there,
Yeah,
and
but that doesn't
in
mean like it necessarily has to.
yeah, but in South Africa and even in the West
This is
here,
just like a weird appeal to majority of that. Like you're saying that it's right because a lot of people
which other
recognize.
cultures do not base gender on sex?
Yeah, so I would actually say that there like aren't any necessarily that I could. I mean, I guess there's some that have had like multiple genders for
Can
the
you
same
name them?
sex. Um, yeah, but like so like in India we have or I guess I would say Southeast Asia. Or is it South or Southeast Asia? I think it's Southeast Asia. There's the Hydra, which are males,
That's in
but
India.
there's also they have their own term for men as well. These are
Wait,
two
Hydra's
genders.
Indian, and
Yeah,
that's not
Southeast.
Southeast Asian. That's
Oh, I
South
guess it's
Asian.
just South Asian. Um, yeah, just South
Yeah, do you
Asian.
know in
Sorry,
India they have large femicides, by the way. They literally unalive baby girls, by the way, based on their sex.
yeah, I'm not
You know what
saying
a
that
girl is, right?
shouldn't. I mean, I understand that it's also a gender, also just very. I understand that.
So
I can have a good idea though of like what they see as a girl and have a different view of what a gender is. These are not
how come
mutually
those baby
exclusive.
girls, right, couldn't identify their way out being girls, so they weren't unalived?
Yeah, because they're doing it based off of
Can
sex.
they do that?
It's
Right,
literally
but
doing it
but
based
when
off
you
of
think
sex.
of a
It's
girl, when I say girl, what do you think of?
yeah. I typically would like be thinking of a adolescent adult or an adolescent human being. That's female.
Human being, an adolescent human being that's female. Right, so adolescent human being that's female. Right. So if you recognize that, women are oppressed based on their sex, how come you are now saying that the same people oppressing us based on our sex can now say that they're women and enter our spaces and enter our sports? Like, I just don't understand how you can say you're a
Yeah. So
feminist and then
so how
support
am
that.
how am I oppressing anyone? I actually am pretty vehemently
I know I
against
never said you
anybody being
specifically were
impressed.
oppressing.
Yeah, so but you're
Sorry.
lumping me in with all
Yeah,
other.
because if you support the same males that oppress
I don't
females,
support them.
saying that you quite literally do support males entering female spaces because they said that they're trans women, so now they can enter our spaces. You support males entering female spaces,
Well,
period.
that just
Whatever name you
presupposes
want.
this idea of female space, gendered space. That when you look at the front of it, usually it says woman and man, not male and female. It's very clearly
It
that they're
depends.
using
Some
a
can say male and female.
yeah.
Some can also have just pictures. There's different ways. I've seen bathrooms that say male and female. I've seen some that say ladies and gents. I've seen some that say man, woman. I've seen some that just have the pictures. But we, as a society, we all know what that means. So if you have a whole man coming in there saying, "Oh, I identify as a woman," that's not gonna run. I'm sorry to break it to you,
Well,
but
you have
it's
no
not gonna
truth
run.
breaker there. Like you can't. It's like literally like you literally are trying to tell them that the subjective idea is wrong somehow. That's like just not possible. it might not be as like semantically useful. There's arguments there or that kind of stuff, but it doesn't mean that they're wrong about it. Like anybody could theoretically claim to be a woman, and like there's no way of like objectively saying what a man or woman is. It is all
Do
entirely
you
based off
support
of like what
do you support
society
adults
sees.
identifying as children?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, because we have an actual understanding that
So you don't think, so you don't so you don't have an understanding that males that have historically oppressed females, letting them enter our spaces would not cause harm to females. You don't think that that would cause harm, but you think that adults entering children's spaces would cause harm. I don't understand why you do not understand that males entering female spaces is harmful for
what
females.
is a child home? I don't know.
Like a school, like schools.
Yeah,
For
we have
example,
adults in
primary
schools
school.
all the time.
Yeah, as a teacher, but would you let them join as a student?
Would you let them join the babies at that time?
Would you let?
No, because like
Why
they're
not?
clearly not in need of this education.
But what happens if there's some of them have a brain of children actually?
Yeah,
Like there's
it's
some
clear
adults that have a
there's,
brain
like,
of a
some
child,
sort
so
of-
they might need it.
yeah, that there's clearly some sort of like, you know, they didn't like they weren't taught as a kid or something like that. Something has happened there that makes them like distinct. And we understand that a lot of times, when people have these like special needs, sometimes we need to give them like special care individually, especially if it, you know, helps other people learn.
Yeah, but you said the reason why you don't support adults entering children's spaces because it's harmful for children, and I agree. Right now, on the flip side, males who oppress females entering female spaces because they say that they're women is also harmful for females.
Yeah, and also age
Why
is
don't you
based off of,
understand
like,
that?
I wouldn't say that age is like a social construct as much as like gender is, because we're actually basing it off of like one revolution.
I also want to say, the concept of men's and women's spaces is a relatively modern concept and only technically exists because of sexism.
Right?
Yeah, so like
As in, female spaces in general only exist because men didn't want women in men's spaces.
Yeah, feminists also fought for their own spaces as well. Both things happened.
yeah, both happen to some extent, but like I mean it's a little funny to say that um like it was the females who wanted this instead of like when there's actually males who wanted this.
Yeah, I agree that both things happened, and either way, I think is
But it also
beneficial.
doesn't
For
mean that
example,
that's right. There's no reason why we
what's
should.
not right about
Yeah, it's not
females
justification.
having their own spaces?
Yeah, so like
Why is
you're
that
just
not
saying that this historically has happened, therefore it should be the case. But that doesn't follow. That's like non sequitur. It does not matter what historically has happened. It matters if you have like an actual like argument for that that's not based off of like yearly history or like appealing to not like a logical argument. You'd have to have like a proper logical argument to back it up.
If you ever heard of the urinary leash, where women couldn't use the toilets in public spaces, they had to use it at home, and feminists fought to have female only toilets, so separate from males, so they were able to use the toilets in public spaces without being in harm's
That's a
way.
little bit of misinformation. Yes, while that did happen, it's part of the two spheres argument as well. What they fought for was not their own space, they just fought for a space in general.
Yeah, but for females only. It wasn't
No,
mixed,
it
right?
wasn't just for females only, it was just for them to be able to use the bathroom in public. That is why men made women's restrooms, it's because they didn't want women in public restroom, what they considered to be the proper public restroom.
So if it wasn't just for females only, who else was a woman's bathroom for?
It was invented only for women by men who didn't like women.
Yeah, no, but there were feminists that fought for female only toilets. This is what the urinary leash was about. It wasn't just men not wanting women in their spaces. There were women who wanted to be able to use public toilets without there being men there, so they fought to have a female only toilet. That's what happened. So again, you now saying 100 years later undoing all the work those feminists did to say, well, this random guy identifies as a woman so he can come right in, is just a slap in the face to everything that feminists fought for. And then you turn around and say you're a feminist when you're not.
Yeah, so I think that all individuals are. I don't think that we should be treating any individual special.
That's
You're
not
saying that we
special
should.
treatment. Separating women from their oppressors is not special treatment.
Yeah, so
That's
why
not special
couldn't
treatment.
why can't I just apply the same argument to race, and it, like, this just becomes inherently racist? You must
How is that?
separate.
How is that racist?
Yeah, we got to separate, people of color away from other people, to protect them. Like, that's just a racist. That's racist. That's a racist, like,
I mean, that
whistle
it's
right
just
there. It is
it's
exactly
just
the
not,
same
because
problem.
there is a physical difference between males and females. Males are stronger than females.
I guarantee you there's a physical difference between different races. Our genetics are different inherently to some degree.
Yeah, I mean,
We've adapted to live
saying
in
it when
different
it
environments, and therefore we have different advantages in different areas. This is well understood.
right, but the thing is, saying it for race, there isn't really that many differences in terms of physical structure. It's more in terms of like features, like your skin color or your hair.
Race is actually very loosely based on biology. Realistically, the only biological concepts in there is just how evolution affected their bodies to evolve to the environments that they were in. Most of it is actually having to do with heritage and culture.
Right, but I'm talking about a physical difference. There's physical differences. Like men are stronger on average than women. Really, when it comes to race, it's really just the differences mainly that we see phenotypically is just like hair and skin color, maybe eye shape. Really, those are not things that are gonna put you in harm's way inherently. But a man being stronger than a woman, like for example, adults, women are stronger than children. They shouldn't be in the same sports categories. They should have their own separate spaces for sports. This is what I'm trying to say. And you would support that, but you can't recognize the fact that men being stronger than women, which is why we should have separate spaces from them, isn't something that you support. And I
Well,
just don't get that.
yeah, so like there's some like weird like analogy going on here. Where like that this isn't also like particularly analogous because like in the first place we allow individuals who have biological advantages to compete regardless. Like this is just well understood.
Yeah, but they're still female though. And even when it comes to boxing, like for example, there's different weight classes and stuff.
Yeah, I would consider that to
So
be even more fair.
yeah, but you still have to be a female though. You can't just be a male and be the same as a female and play the sport. You have to be a female that also weighs the same weight as the other female you're playing against. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
but that just doesn't justify it being like right. Like this is just saying that this is the case, therefore it's not. There
Yeah, it's
is
right
no
because
argument
men are on
here.
average stronger. So it wouldn't be a fair fight if you
Yeah,
like let's say there's a male who was like 65 kilos and the female was also 65 kilos. That wouldn't be fair because that male still has have more muscle mass on average, more testosterone. So putting them in the same fight would not be fair,
yeah, but
right?
there's also like everybody. We understand that everybody has different genes. It's inherently not fair to begin with.
Yeah, they have different genes, and that's why in boxing, people who are heavier will be fight with people who are heavier, and people who are less heavier will fight with people who are less heavier. But you still have to be a male or female. That makes it equal. It makes more sense. What's more equal? A male and a female who are both 65 kg in a fight, or two females who are both 65 kg in a fight. Which one's more fair? Answer the
Yeah,
question.
it would be the two females. It doesn't mean that it's
Right.
not a fair
So
fight
what's
in
the
the
issue?
first place. Like that's the point I'm trying to make. Is that
But
like,
I asked you
it's
which is
still
more
not.
fair. I'm asking. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
asking you which is more fair.
yeah, it's still not
And you answered the
entirely
question.
fair. Yeah, I did answer it.
Yeah,
It's
so exactly. So that means it still supports my argument that males shouldn't be there.
well,
They just shouldn't be in the sport. They should not be in any type of female sport.
yeah, like I agree that
Because
if we
if
were caring
you
about,
agree that males being in female sports would make it more unfair than two females. You
yeah,
agree. You
I
literally
agree
just
that
agree.
the males in general, but there's certain circumstances where that's not, we don't actually have evidence to show that's we
Like what?
yeah, so individuals who have not gone through like Tanner stage 2 of puberty, a male puberty, um, they don't actually have seem to have any like substantially large as we would expect from individuals. Like
So no
especially if
type
you
of
can,
advantage.
yeah. So if you're especially if you're comparing it to individuals who have like equal height and that kind of stuff, equal height and weight, that there doesn't seem to be like a huge um difference between
So,
you
but
know
this is the thing though. Like once you start doing that, you're now saying that there's some people who are more trans than others. Like there's some trans people who are more acceptable than others. Because if you start saying, well, not all trans people have an advantage, so only the ones that basically have been through HRT since they were what, maybe 10 years old can go in. So now you're gonna have like hierarchies within within transgenderism. Does
No, I
that not
wouldn't
cause
consider
problems?
them more men or women. I would just say that this is just what like this
Yeah,
is a
but you're saying that
biological
the people
fact.
who
I have nothing to say that they're more or less of a something. Just looking at pure biology, looking at the pure
so you're
statistics.
basically saying the people who have been through basically people who have been through HRT earlier in life are more likely to be able to play in women's sports. That causes problems. What happens if someone thought they became transgender at 25? Are they not as valid to play in women's sports as someone who recognized they were transgender at 10 years old and started hormones at 10 versus someone who started hormones at 25?
It would be
Like
considered
you're
more
going to start
unfair
causing problems.
in this case.
So I
You're going to
want
start causing problems within the transgenderism community.
I'm gonna speak on this real quick. There's already things put in place to prevent trans people from having an unfair advantage, specifically in women's sports, requiring them to have been on both puberty blockers and estrogen for a set amount of time to ensure that the effects of testosterone on their body have already faded away and they have exited typical male levels
They have
and have
typical male. Yeah, but no male can like. It's not even just about things like testosterone. It's even like the structure of your body. Like males have like more shoulder width and stuff like that, and their muscles look different. Like a male and woman can weigh the same, but the way their muscles are like distributed around their body is different to females.
Yeah, that's mostly
Things
because
like
of
that.
things like puberty that they've gone through. Before puberty, if you actually look, most individuals have pretty similar like competitiveness. Like males and females are much more closer to like each other. It is really
I know.
just puberty that drives this dimorphism that leads to
I know that.
differences. So if they don't go through this change, then they're going to be as equal.
So yeah, so
This
you
is
basically saying the only transgenders who you would allow to compete in women's sports
yeah.
are the ones who haven't been through a certain stage of puberty. So that means you're creating a divide. So you're basically saying
But
that
I'm not saying that they're less of a
this,
woman because of this, or less of a man because of it.
I mean, you essentially are because why can't they play if they're a woman and they believe they're a woman? Why can't they be in women's sports then?
It's
You're
simply
basically saying, well,
acknowledging
you're
a.
not really.
I'm just simply acknowledging a biological fact that they have a biological advantage here.
You're causing problems.
I mean, to be
No,
fair,
we're
there
not
are also
causing problems. We're understanding the fact that trans women who haven't gone through hormone replacement therapy do in fact have some kind of biological advantage due to the fact that they haven't gone through the gender affirming care. But I have two sources. I'm putting them both into the chat right now. One of them state that after about a year on hormone replacement therapy, trans women lose like a lot of the advantages they have. What is it?
Are you a male?
There's
Or male?
no,
You're not male.
no, at least not according to my doctor. But according to this,
You're not. Are you born
uh,
male? Genuine question. Are you born male?
can you stop like interrupting me with this
I just want
question?
you
It
to answer
doesn't
the
matter.
question.
It
Why
doesn't
not?
matter.
Yeah, it
Why
doesn't
not?
matter.
I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue with my
But
point.
why
I
does it
really
not
don't
matter?
care if you're
Are you a
listening or not.
male?
Anyway, according to the second source I gave, 332-88617, the summary states that the 15 to 31% athletic advantage that trans women displayed before starting gender hormone therapy declines after they start doing that hormone replacement therapy. But
But it doesn't reach women's levels.
during the after the 1 year period that most world athletics organizations have, they still have a 5%, not 5, 9% faster running speed. Although the first source I gave, the impact of gender affirming hormone therapy on physical performance, PMID 374-37247, the summary basically concludes that trans men, their physical performance appears to be zero, have zero difference between them and cis men after about 3 years on gender affirming hormone therapy, and after about 3 to 4 years on HRT for trans women is roughly around the same, where they have no differences to cis women.
So you believe that if they go through that, what happens if you're trans and you
No,
don't
I
want to go
don't
through
believe
HRT?
it. That's what the science shows.
Yeah. So what happens if you're trans and you don't want to go through HRT, but you still want to be in women's sports?
Then, according to those world athletics organizations, then you wouldn't be allowed to.
It also really depends on like when we're talking about sports. I don't think everybody plays sports to be competitive. Some do it for a hobby.
Yeah,
If
in-
you're
Yeah,
doing
but I'm
it for
talking about in
fun,
the Olympics and
like
things.
okay, in professional athletic sports, there is a total of 10 trans people in the entirety of every single sport. Like if we're counting
That
like
doesn't
every
matter.
single if we're counting every single athlete from every single sport, not counting the fact that they're like completely different sports playing completely different things, there are 10 people.
Right, but it doesn't really matter because
It does,
even if there
because
is
you're talking about a
10,
case that you're talking about something that doesn't matter because it's 10 people.
I think it matters if there's male and female sports. I think that definitely
Yeah, but
matters.
again, I just gave you two sources that states that they don't have any physical advantages.
Yeah,
Because
and there's
according
some
to the
there's some
organizations
adult
that
women.
according to the organizations that set up the events for
Yeah,
them to
there's
play against,
there's
they are following the criteria that they allow.
there's some adult women
Also,
that don't have any physical advantages against children. Should they now be in children's sports? Would you allow that?
That means literally nothing.
No, it does because you're talking about physical
Also,
advantages. There's
secondly
some.
to that, as long as any of the athletes in the sport follow along with the rules that the sports organization gives, like in terms of like their physical attributes, like physical advantage doesn't matter. If physical advantage matters, where's your outrage for Michael Phelps being allowed to compete in swimming?
like he was clubbing
Because
baby
he is
seals.
quite literally a okay, I'm using hyperbole here, but compared to other humans and swimming, he is a biological abomination.
Yeah, he has, like,
That's obviously hyperbole. I'm not actually calling him an abomination, but he is naturally
anomaly,
going to be
for
better
sure.
at swimming compared to other people. Like
He's in,
even
like-
someone who what is it? Like even someone who trains for like 10 years and does all of that stuff, he will be able to beat them without any training. Purely just based on the fact that he is biologically better than them.
He has
So
also
if you're,
trained. Let's
like-
be clear about that too. But it just makes
Exactly.
it even more unfair for other individuals. I
So-
bet you if he had, part of the thing is I wonder if even if he had more competition, if he would be even better because he pushed himself harder to do better.
Exactly. So if you're stating that your contention is with the biological advantage, then you would also have to state that Michael Phelps shouldn't be allowed to play in the like in the events that he plays in.
If we're gonna
I mean,
complain
he's
about
he's
this
just
too,
playing. He's a male playing in men's
Right, but
swimming
he's a
sports.
but his very existence grants him a biological advantage.
But what are the categories to enter that men's sports though? I'm pretty sure
I
you just
don't
have
know
to be
the
a male.
exact I don't know the exact criteria, but according to you, it doesn't matter because if there's a biological advantage, then that means that he shouldn't be allowed to play.
I mean, yeah, but it depends on the criteria of it,
Well,
and
if it matters about the criteria, then you shouldn't be then you shouldn't be complaining about trans women being in women's sports because
I'm
the
pretty
trans
sure.
women who play in like women's sports on like world athlete organizations like with the Olympics, they would be meeting the criteria. Otherwise, they wouldn't be competing in those events.
I'm pretty sure the Olympics banned them from entering women's sports. I heard
No,
something about
No,
America
it's-
banned them from it.
yeah, it depends. It's so the
America.
current understanding about it is that it's up to individual sporting leagues in order to that are like work with the Olympics to because the Olympics works with different sporting leagues. For like let's say soccer, I don't know who they work with exactly, but like they choose an organization to set the rules and stuff, and they work off of them. And it's whatever that league decides that they go off of, because otherwise then the Olympics would have to do a huge amount of work in order to like basically talk about every single one of these issues with each other.
I mean, when it comes to whole sports things, I still don't believe that males should be in female sports, whether they take
So you're
a bunch
just
of
ignoring
hormones.
science because I gave
I'm
you
not.
two
I'm not.
sources. I
I'm not
gave you two
ignoring.
separate sources that explained why it's stupid to, be against trans women in women's sports. Because like
Well,
there
not
is
all
no
trans. Not all
because
trans
unlike what
athletes
like
take HRT.
unlike what transphobes state, you know, they don't have a biological advantage. As I
They
said
never
from
got the
the
biological
thing.
advantage. That's the thing.
Wait.
Yeah, especially if they didn't go through the puberty Tanner stage 2 or whatever it's called,
That is
because
what-
then they just wouldn't have grown the body in order to have that advantage to begin with. In
Yeah.
which case, it wouldn't even matter in that and then because then they would just have to take the hormone replacement therapy and then boom, they would have the same stuff as a cis woman or like the same physical ability as a cis woman.
Hey, can I
I'm
ask
pretty
you
sure
a
there are
question?
sources that
What?
don't
Hey,
that say that they're not.
I
It's
literally
not
gave
gonna
you
be
two sources
completely.
that said that exact thing.
Well, I don't have all
can
all
Like
my
literally what I
sources.
just
I don't
stated,
have all my
I gave
sources.
two sources.
Yeah, and there can be sources debunking your sources. Like there's different things out there on the internet. I don't
Then
have
show
the
them.
sources to pull up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'm telling you, I don't have the sources to
Then
pull that
stop
up
bringing
right
them
now
up.
at this moment.
yeah,
I can
that's
bring
a you
up
problem.
I can bring up things that affect females, sir. So you need to calm down.
I can.
Okay,
Um,
according to both of the studies I gave, they brought up the fact that trans men, who according to you would be quote unquote females playing in men's sports,
It's not quite. They
in
are
both
females. It's not quite.
in both situations, they would be gaining an advantage compared to cisgender women. And so, according to you, we should be allowing people,
I don't believe trans men should be in
you
women's
believe that
sports either.
transgender men should be fighting against cisgender
No, I
women.
don't. I don't know who told you. I don't believe that either.
Okay,
Because
so
essentially just.
so what
Can
you
let me
want
finish?
is
Hold on, sir.
no,
Sir, calm down.
because I've been
Well, let
sitting
me
here.
wait, sir.
I've
Can
been
you just
sitting here
hold
getting
on?
constantly
Sir,
interrupted by you, and I'm
sir, can
getting
you
kind
hold
of
on?
sick of it.
And we're being interrupted
So,
by men like you
according to
trying to
you,
call themselves
transgender women
lesbians.
should
But
be in
okay.
men's sports. So, according to you, transgender women should be in
I never
men's
said
sports,
trans men should
and
be in
transgender men
women's sports. I never said trans
shouldn't
men
be
should
in
be in men's
sports to
sports.
begin with.
I never said trans men should be in men's sports because they have an advantage because they've been doping essentially. They've been taking testosterone, and that's not.
Okay,
You
so
can't really
where
do
should
that.
trans
So,
men go?
well, they put themselves. I mean, they put themselves in a category that doesn't really exist. That's on them. That's the
But
risk you decide to
they
take.
they put themselves in the category of man
Because I don't believe
they
that
fight
females should be
against
in males.
they fight against cisgender men
I
because
don't believe
they
that
have
females should be.
the strength equivalent to that of a cisgender man.
I don't
on
believe that
average,
females should be
obviously.
in male sports and males should be in female sports. So whatever you
So
decide
you're
to do to your own
again,
body,
you're just ignoring science because I
I'm
gave
not
you
ignoring
two
the science. I'm
separate
pretty sure there's
sources that
other.
I literally
pretty
gave
sure
you
there's
two
other.
separate sources that proves to
Yeah.
you that trans men and trans women gain or lose the physical advantage that you're stating that they inherently have or don't have, and then just saying, you're just saying, oh, they shouldn't be in there because, nuh-uh.
Yeah, I don't have the sources to pull that up right now. I don't just keep
I gave you
keep
the
those
sources.
things
I
with
can
me.
put them in the chat again
And
if you want me to.
there's other sources out there that exist that's not 100% the case.
Okay, can you bring them?
It's solid.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't have that with me. I'd have to go and do that research. I have to go soon anyways, but if I do come back to this
until
land.
you do that, you can't really be stating, oh, there's sources out there to disprove that, because that's like you saying that the sky is blue, and I said there's sources out there to disprove that, and you ask me where the sources, and I say I don't have them with me right now. But that still means that the sky isn't blue.
Yeah, but I don't really have to go around carrying around sources. You do, because you have to justify.
I
And
did, and
you
you're stating
basically-
that there are sources that
you
disprove
have
it.
to
So
you have to justify
No,
your
in
invasions.
India,
You have to justify your invasions,
Hey.
so that's why you have to
No,
go
no,
around
but
carrying
wait,
sources, and
you-
I don't really have to do
I
that.
brought up my sources. You're saying they're wrong because of other sources. So
It's
now
on you, yeah.
you quite
Yeah,
literally
I will.
have
I
the
never
burden
said
of
it's
proof.
not on me. I will bring.
Yeah,
I just
but
don't have that right now.
it doesn't matter whether or not it's on you or not, or
It's a
you
trust
say it's
me,
on
bro,
you
at
or
that
not.
point.
It's the fact that it is on you. I brought up my sources. You said
Yeah,
they're wrong.
I've already
I said
accepted
why.
the fact that the
You
burden of
brought up
proof
the
is on
fact
me.
that
I
there
don't
are
know
other
why you're
sources to disprove it.
I
If
don't
you
know why
have
you're
other
arguing
sources to
me.
disprove it, bring them up. Otherwise, you can't be using nuh-uh as an argument.
Yeah, I can't just say,
Hey,
nuh-uh, I have the source, and then never show you the source.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
That's
can I?
exactly
I said I
what
just
you're
don't have
doing.
that on me right now, because I don't go around carrying sources. Because I don't plan on invading men's spaces. You're
Yeah.
planning on invading women's spaces, so you have to bring up your little sources
Speaking of that,
to
I have
justify
a-
your
a spe-
invasions.
Speaking of that, I have a source that actually points out the fact that trans people, just in general, are 4 times more likely than cisgender women to be victims of violent crimes.
It's not my problem, sir.
I originally got it from the Williams Institute, but it links back to a source
And
from
who's
PubMed.
committing those violent crimes against them?
Mostly cisgender men.
Yeah.
So mostly men.
So, according to the study, transgender people
What does that have to do with women?
86 point. According to the study, transgender people experience 86.2 victimizations per 1,000 people, compared to cisgender people experiencing 21.7 per 1,000 people, which
And
is
that's
a
being done by
ratio
men.
of 4.24. Also, households that have transgender people in it have higher rates of property victimization of 214.1 per 1,000 households,
And that's
compared to that of cisgender people being 108 out of 1,000
and
households.
if
that
that's
being a
mainly being done
2.25
by
ratio.
men. If that's
None of
mainly
that
being
means
done by
anything
men,
because in the end
that's
we are
not
still
women's
going to
problem.
be higher.
That's
We are still
not
going to
women's
be.
problem.
Again,
That's not our
it
problem.
doesn't matter whether or not it's your problem. I'm pointing out the fact that we are still more likely to be attacked than you are, because it's literally
Okay,
right here.
how is the solution to that now letting those trans people enter women's spaces though? This is what I'm trying to understand.
Because putting them
How is
in
that solution?
a scenario where they are literally being placed in the same in a vulnerable position in the same space as
Can
the
they not
people
have their
who
own
are
spaces?
Can you let me finish?
No, you can't.
No.
Of course you can't. Can like someone like mute her until I can
I got
finish?
it.
By
So,
the way,
until
Yeah.
fuck what
Go ahead, Sophie, and then we can let Saul speak. Sorry.
putting a group of people who are more likely to be attacked by another group of people into a vulnerable and private position with that other group of people is going to lead to much more victimization of that first group of people. So, in this specific case, putting trans people into a vulnerable and private position with cisgender men would be putting them at a higher risk of being attacked, whether that be through being harassed, assaulted, raped, and / or unalived.
Okay, what about their own spaces though? This is the thing.
So
If
what you're
trans women
suggesting
have
is
their own space.
segregation.
Yeah, you're suggesting separate but equal. That's
You're,
what we tried
like-
to-
But so why?
According to the same this is literally the same logic that
But you want to
racists use for
segregate
black
from
people.
cis males though. You want to segregate from cis males. What's the issue with
No,
that?
we want to be put in a position where we can be safe from them. and making
Yeah, so
an entire
that's not
bathroom for
segregation.
making an entire bathroom for transgender people is quite literally going to do the opposite.
Yeah, but you want to segregate from cis males and be put into
Right, but
female
making a
spaces.
bathroom for
That's
transgender people,
segregation. That's
but
sexist. You're being sexist.
make
You're being sexist because you want to
making
segregate from cis males. That's
making
sexism.
bathrooms for
That's
transgender
segregation.
people is literally going to be putting them in the exact same, in worse of a position than just putting them in the men's bathroom.
Hey, if you want to pick on somebody, pick out of the person who's coming out of
I'm
this
not. I'm not
bathroom.
picking
Why
on
are
a
you
grown
laughing?
man.
That's
Why,
literally
I'm not
what I'm
picking on a
saying.
grown
It's
man.
going to
I'm
to
sorry,
make
but no one's
conditions for
picking
those.
on a grown man. Like that's just not happening.
It's going to make the
does.
conditions for those bathrooms worse, as it did with fucking colored bathrooms back in the 1950s. And then it's also going to put a massive target
So
on anyone's back who enters that bathroom, because
I
they're
honestly
going,
think it's
like,
ridiculous.
people who wish to attack trans people will see someone go into that bathroom and then come out and then think, oh, that person is trans because they're going to the trans bathroom, so that's someone I can easily target and hurt.
So
So
you don't
according
believe it's
to you,
segregation to separate cis males from trans males. You don't believe that's segregation and sexist.
No, it's
no,
clear
because
evidence.
one is protecting and the other is again segregate. It's literally just segregating for no reason.
So is it protecting? Does it protect women to separate males and females? Does it protect females to do that?
Repeat the
Because
question.
males harm females.
Can
So
you repeat the question?
does it protect females to separate males from females? Because males harm females, right? So if we separate males and females, is that segregation or protection?
It will be protection.
Right. So males and females should be separate. Thank you.
Can you
Do you agree?
give me a
Do you
source?
agree?
Can you
Males
give
and
me a
females should
source
be
that
separate.
transgender
No,
women
you
are more?
you just said.
Nah, hold on.
I said males and females. I
on.
said males and females. I
Hold
never
the
said.
fuck
Why are you getting
on.
angry, sir? That's
Can you
the
give me a source that
testosterone.
shows that transgender women are
testosterone is making
actually
you
a
a bit
threat to
angry.
cisgender women?
I never said anything about trans or cis. I said males and females should be separate, and you said yes because it will protect females, and you agreed. I never said anything about one being trans or cis. You quite literally agreed that males and females should be separate because it
Yeah,
will protect females. So there we go.
in terms of
Like,
cisgender
what's your
women
problem?
and cisgender men, yes, in most cases, it would be protection to be putting the cisgender men in a different place to cisgender women. But we're not talking about that case. We're talking about the case of cisgender women and trans women. But you're using
What's the difference between a cis
you're
man
using
and a trans
incorrect.
woman? It's just a bunch of words.
I literally have brought up so many times why they are different.
Yeah.
Are you bothering to listen?
Hey, I'm
Well,
gonna
what's a
interrupt-
trans
hold
woman?
on,
Someone
hold
that
on.
says they're a woman.
I
That's
am
a
going
man
to
that says they're a
interrupt
woman.
here because Snake's been waiting patiently. What do you want to say, Snake?
Well, I have two things to say. One,
I actually have to go, but
Folded like it.
Of course you do.
cool. One, India said earlier, like, I don't know if anyone else caught it when, yeah, but not all trans women actually athletes at professional level take HRT, and try to slip that in there. I was gonna try hold her feet to the fire for that one. And
Oh yeah, I wasn't.
second,
Sorry, I wasn't even going to bother with that because I know that's just a blatant lie.
No, I was gonna ask for proof of it and watch them fumble. But also second, they then also said, oh yeah, I will bring up my proof for it for going nah, but then completely pivoted away.
Yeah.
I never said that I didn't need to bring proof, even though I was saying the proof was on you to prove my point when you'd already proved your point against me, and I had to prove my point against you.
Exactly.
And then waffled about it so long that she pivoted away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
sorry
Salva,
for like
didn't you-
basically taking that entire like thing over with the sources and stuff.
No, that's
Hey,
that,
it's
that's fine.
fine.
I just wanted Snake to speak too. They had their hand.
I was just chilling. I'm usually patient when it comes to speaking, and that I was trying to find a gap, but then kept me, spoken. It's like, okay, I'll just wait.
Yeah, and I
'Cause
figured I was
I-
like,
is-
good enough. I'll interrupt.
Exactly. That's the thing. Plus, you know me, still. I'll probably forget anyways. If it goes long enough, I'll have forgotten and won't care.
Who are you talking to? Me? No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
No.
kind of like it's kind of related to the thing, but I have two other sources. The first one is the one that Salvage was pointing out with the paper that talks about how your sex can be mutable. Called
Epic.
Measuring Sex, Gender Identity, and Sexual Orientation. It was a book, I think, written in 2022. And if you want me to give the PM ID, I can do that in the chat.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Always looking.
And another source that disproves the whole the thing about how sex is only about your being able to produce whatever gamete. A case of a person who is identified to be male, who has shown evidence of previously ovulating. Called ovulation in a cytogenically proved phenotypically male fertile H word. I don't want to say the word, but
Well,
the bad word for intersex.
Intersex people, yeah.
Where a person who was identified male and has fathered children, had an ovary inside of him, and the histology of said ovary suggested that it at one time produced eggs and ovulated.
Cool. Also, didn't you want to say something at one point? Because I swear I heard your voice peep for a second.
Yeah, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
Damn.
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
So this person that identified male was a born male.
Yes. Well, they were born intersex and has an ovary inside of them. And according, when, scientists or doctors did their thing and eventually removed the ovary after a surgery or whatever, they did some histology on the ovary and suggested that it had at one point ovulated, and meaning that he has at one point produced either, or it had at one point produced small gametes and then had also large gametes and then had also been able to produce small ones.
Oh wow.
Okay, so is there any reason why that would happen?
It's still being studied. This was, I don't remember when exactly this was, but this is a very new thing that we're looking up, and if this study if this actually shows what it states it shows, it could completely destroy the idea of humans being a gonochoric species.
What was this person?
Or a truly gonochoric species.
Who is this person that you're talking about?
In the I'm gonna put the source in the chat, but it's a specific case of a dude who had an ovary that had ovulated, but he had also fathered children.
Super interesting.
But yeah, if it is actually true and there's
That's what you said it was
actual
for.
science that that goes into it and actually says shows what it says it shows, it could completely destroy what we know about humans being gonochoric.
I would just say that we're just typically gonochoric. That would be what I would say, because our genetics are just a typicality. They're not set in stone. There could be reasons that it's pretty hard to move back from being gonochoric, but there would have to be environmental pressures to move towards being non-gonochoric, or I don't know what that is. Proper name is.
Okay, so I just looked that up, and it's actually a man that went into hernia surgery, and the hernia had an ovary inside it, so they didn't actually give birth or were able to be pregnant. So
Did you bring the actual or look up the actual source that I gave, or
you didn't give us all.
I did in the chat. 7200380.
Okay, so where's that? Where's the code lead me?
It's going to lead you to PubMed, National Library of Medicine, NIH.
National Library of Medicine, okay. And what's the number again?
72000380. And in the source, it states that he had an ovary inside of him.
Sorry, can you
And
just repeat that? One second. National Library of Medicine, National Institute. So 1 second. What's the number?
7200.
You said 79 a minute ago. 7200.
380,
Yeah, that's not the number that you said a minute ago.
wasn't it?
No.
I think it
And
might have
that,
been my
that,
mic being bad.
It's the same
that
number.
doesn't exist.
What do you mean it doesn't exist?
Well, I've just put that number in to the National Library of Medicine, and it does not exist.
Question: Did
No,
you
you put it into Google and then it gives you a
No,
pub.
I'm
It gives
actually on
you
the
the
National
PubMed
Library
source.
of Medicine.
Yeah, if you put that like that number into Google, it'll give you the thing. If you just go onto PubMed and search it up, it probably won't give you anything
Okay,
because
so give me that number again, sorry.
searching through the PubMed source will just
seven what, sorry?
7200
Yeah.
380.
Okay, so if I just put that number in, it
On
comes up
Google,
with-
it should give you ovulation in a cytogenically approved, phenotypically male fertile. I'm not going to say that word, but it starts with H and ends with ite.
the first case, the only case. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but according to that, that would mean that humans wouldn't be purely gonochoric.
Okay, but how can you have the argument that you're having with just one case?
Pardon?
How can you have the argument that you're having with just one case?
what argument? There's numerous
What
arguments that
argument?
have
The
been
only
made.
argument I'm making is that the source states that, well, firstly, the production of gametes isn't the only thing that we use to actually state someone's sex, and secondly, it is possibly the first ever source that we have that proves that humans are not purely gonochoric.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. So, do you believe there's a difference between male and female?
Typically, yes.
Okay, can you accentuate the word typically?
Pardon?
Can you explain why you said typically?
Because according to the like the structured construct thing that we have, it is possible for someone who is born and identified to be male having like close sexual trait resemblance to someone who is born and identified as female.
Okay, can you differentiate between the word born as female and identifies as female?
Identified being the doctor states this is a male or this is a female or it's a boy, it's a girl, hooray, blah,
So,
blah,
so
blah.
we're establishing the fact
And
that there is a
being
difference.
born having like having 3 out of the or 2 out of the 3 visible sex traits at that time being that of either a male or a female.
Okay, so what are the visible traits?
Okay, so they're different between as a child and as an adult, or like before and after puberty, but as a child it would be external genitalia, gonads, and chromosomes.
Sophie, to be
After
fair,
puberty, you add on to that secondary sex characteristics and hormones.
Sophie, couldn't you just simplify that as the majority of present characteristics?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Couldn't you simplify that to the majority of present characteristics? So obviously, if there's 3 only present, then it would be 2. If there was
Right,
5
yes.
present, it would be 3.
Yes. So yeah, it would be having the majority of the visible characteristics. As a child, you would only be able to have 3 of them, but after puberty, you start to gain the other 2 of the 5.
Okay, and what is your source for that fact?
In the chat, I'm going to put it in. Hold on. That number will lead you to a NIH PubMed source called Measuring Sex, Gender Identity, and Sexual Orientation. That has stuff that that basically show how we define sex, gender, and sexual orientation, as well as the like differentiations and the similarities between them.
Okay, so
This is
do you understand that there are differences between male and female?
this is
Yes.
one hell of a source.
Okay, so
too.
what are those differences that you understand?
Pardon?
What are the differences that you understand?
Well, if we're talking about a typical male and typical female with like no intersex conditions
There's no
involved,
typical or anything like that. Basically, differences between male and female biologically.
no, because
Well-
because I'm stating that because if we're including intersex conditions,
No,
then
but I'm not.
that would
considering
include
intersex.
a lot more things that
Well,
will.
okay, we'll take intersex out of the equation. What are the differences between male and
Yeah,
female?
that's why I
biologically?
said that. That's why I said typically male and female because I'm taking
Okay,
intersex
I
out of the
agree with
equation.
that. Thank you.
I
So what are
Anyway,
the differences?
a male typically would have the external genitalia of a male, so that would be like the penis and the scrotum. Secondary sex characteristics, so like broader shoulders, like body, like excess body hair, that kind of stuff. Gonads, that would be like the testicles and the thing that produces sperm. Chromosomes, XY, and hormones that refers to like the level of hormones inside of your body. For males, it would be in excess of testosterone.
Okay, so we agree that male and females are completely different. Yes.
Typically, yes.
Okay, so why are you advocating for trans women who have all the characteristics of a typical male that you've explained in your own
Are you
words?
going to bring up the sports thing, despite the fact that I already gave
No,
two sources that
I'm not actually.
disprove
If you
that?
would be kind enough not to interrupt me, I would love that. Why can you say to anybody that a trans woman is a woman when you've just explained that a male is completely different to a female, regardless of any surgery? I'm not finished. A surgical enhancement, anything. Biologically, the stem, the core of a male, whether it's trans female, trans woman, are different.
Because there's actually a source, I actually have a source that shows that transgender women's brains are similar, move closer to that of cisgender women than
But they're
cisgender men.
They're not the same.
They're not the same. That doesn't.
Well, no,
not all
no
women are
one's
the
going to
same.
be exactly the same. I'm stating the fact that transgender women, like their brain anatomy, moves closer to that of cisgender women than they do of cisgender men.
Closer, but not the same.
Yeah, as I just said, no one is going to be the exact same. So if we're going to be using that argument, then fucking no woman is going to be a woman because they're not
Women
going to
just
be
don't
the same.
exist, like de facto. Their point.
Okay, so but you just like argued yourself out of an argument by saying there is a difference, but okay, cis man who wants to transition into a woman, hang on, they are going to have a different structure. The females, you've already categorized that women have a different brain anatomy than a male.
Yeah,
yes?
and if you would bother to listen to what I was stating,
Don't-
you would have
don't
heard
be rude,
you would have
don't be
heard the
rude.
fact that I said that transgender women, their brain on average moves closer to that of moves closer towards cisgender women than cisgender men's brains do.
Okay, so but not exactly there, just closer.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so they're not women.
So, what?
They're
Well,
not
woman
women.
Is let's be clear about this. Woman is like a subjective term. There is no
Okay, so they're not
objective
female.
woman. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're
Not
woman.
inherently, no. In
Okay.
most cases, not inherently.
Okay.
But according to the source that I gave you with the like sex traits and stuff, that shows that it can be changed. Like your sex can be changed. That's why I would be considered a female according to my doctor.
But what did your doctor say? Did your doctor say that you've got the ability to grow life, due to
That
the
isn't a
assault.
requirement to
Yeah.
being a woman.
There's
I
not.
never said that was a requirement. I've not finished. Did he
But
say
but
that you are a woman?
by implication that you are, because I said that I'm a female, and then you asked, did your doctor say that you have the ability to give life? So by the implication of that, you're stating women or females must be able to have the ability to give life.
That's not what I stated. If you let me finish, I asked you a question.
It's not what you stated directly, but it's an implication.
You can't give birth. You can't create life. You've got no
Not all women
biological
can.
ability. Hang on. You've got no biological ability. You weren't given the organs necessary to give life. Okay,
Not
that's
all
one thing.
females are.
Yeah, there's
I
not
kn-
a single
if you let me
necessary
finish,
factor to be a woman
you can argue with
or a
me,
female.
but let me finish. So, what characteristics have you been given that make you a female or a woman?
I have
No,
the secondary
I
sex.
don't mean surgically enhanced. I mean given.
Can you let me finish?
Go on, man.
I have the secondary sex characteristics of a woman, as in like wider hips, softer skin, breasts, that kind of
Softer
stuff.
skin. Did you
Yeah,
say
apparently
softer
apparently
skin?
that's an actual secondary sex characteristic.
Yeah, moisturising cream can do that for you.
Yeah, but this is like based on
Yeah, but
like,
I'm talking about like just on its own.
yeah, males have rougher skins than females. But when they
Let's
take estrogen, they
oh,
get softer
that's not what I
skin.
wanted.
So to be a female or to be a woman, you have to change your own situation.
Hold on.
Yeah?
Okay, I searched it up. Secondary sex characteristics of a female.
No, I'm
Breast
asking you a
enlargement.
question.
I have.
I don't need that. I'm asking you a question.
I'm going to continue because yeah. Female secondary sex characteristics include breast enlargement. I have that. Widening of the hip/pelvis. Have that too. Increased adipose tissue, I think this is.
you
Body
reading off
fat
the
in
internet?
thighs and buttocks. I have that. Growth of pubic and underarm hair. Have that, and a higher voice compared to males. I don't have that, but that's a majority of the secondary sex characteristics of females. So, according to the source, I would have the secondary sex characteristics that align with females. And then on top of that, I also have a estrogen-dominated body, which would make it so I have the hormone profile of that of a female.
Okay, is that surgically or chemically enhanced?
What does that matter?
Yeah.
Because
And also, I haven't had any surgeries, so you can't really use that
Is it
example. Well, I have had
chemically
ones. I have had, I think, one surgery, but that had nothing to do with any of my sex
okay, right.
characteristics.
I apologise for the surgery that you had that I don't know about, and I hope you're okay after that. What I'm saying to you is, have you had to take any pharmaceuticals or anything to make you what you believe you are?
That, regardless of if I did or not, that doesn't mean anything because the source never states anything about whether or not,
I'm not talking about ourselves, I'm talking about you.
gender-affirming care counts or not.
Okay, so you've had to make changes chemically to your body to make you.
That doesn't matter because the
It
source
does
never
matter, because
claimed.
that's what
The
the base
source
of your
never
argument
claims.
is.
It never brings up anything about whether or not
I am not talking
quote
about
unquote
what.
medically induced changes actually count or not.
True,
Well,
but
Because
do,
they don't.
really.
Because they do count.
hey,
According towards the sex traits, quote unquote chemically induced changes do count. It
So
doesn't matter if
you've
it doesn't
had
matter if I
chemically.
take. It doesn't matter if I take hormones or if I take
Okay.
or testosterone blockers or whatever. In the end, they will all still count towards the sex traits that I have. If they didn't, my doctor wouldn't be considering me to be a female.
I doubt your doctor considers you as a female.
Well, you
But it's
can doubt that all
medically
you want,
incorrect.
but I have female on my medical records.
Yeah, but it's
so you
medically
can doubt that all you
incorrect.
like, but that's what I have.
Because you've had to take tablets or pharmaceuticals to make you what you
But
believe you
that
are.
doesn't
And I'm not trying.
matter.
Hang on. I am not trying to disingenuous what you think
You
you
are because you're repeatedly
if you take it
stating.
that way. But what I'm saying to you is, you're born one way. If you want to transition to another way, it's a transition. It's not
But
naturally your.
It doesn't matter.
It does, because that's the basis of the
doesn't.
argument.
Why does it
Show
matter?
me
Yeah, but
where any
see,
like show
see,
I
me
don't
where
have to
any
show you, it's
study
called logic.
show me where any study shows that like ever states that like medical changes or whatever induced by like chemicals or whatever actually don't matter in terms of defining your sex traits.
It does not
may I
matter.
just add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Snake.
I mean, there are also plenty of cis women, if they have things like PCOS or if they have to have an early induced menopause and things like that, who are on things like hormones that would be classed as chemical things and that, and they could have been born female but still be on that and then develop certain things because of it, or if they were underdeveloped people who might be on hormones, again, same situation. If they've gained some of the characteristics by that, why would that not count?
That's not the same situation. The situation is when a male wants to transition to a female, it's chemically enhanced. When a woman goes through menopause, it's a necessity to have HRT.
Yes, but what Snake was talking about is the fact that there are women who prematurely go through menopause, and because of that, they take hormones to not do that. Because
So
otherwise,
you're
they
not
would
a
be
woman.
prematurely going through menopause.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but that's what a woman goes through. But you're not a woman.
Right,
so
but according to
That's what a
you,
woman
they wouldn't be considered a
typically-
woman because they would have to be
That's not what I
they would
said.
have to be taking
No.
hormones in order to
No.
have that chemical balance to not be going through menopause.
That's not what I said. You're doing this to try and be something that you're not. Women
But
that
I
go
am,
through this
because
is-
my doctor states that.
Your
What
doctor
qualifications do
states
you
that
have?
you're a woman.
What qualifications do you have to go against what my doctor states?
What qualifications do your doctor have?
a doctor's degree.
He has a doctorate.
Is a doctorate in what? Bullshit.
I don't remember exactly what it is, but the fact that he is considered legally a doctor and does doctoring stuff, I would
Doctoring
assume
stuff.
that he has, at the very least, a doctorate in something. Which,
In something.
considering the fact that you didn't answer my question, seems to be a lot more than you have.
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say is that he has like some sort of medical doctor degree.
Yeah, he has some
Yeah.
sort of medical degree that allows him to be a medical doctor. Otherwise, he wouldn't legally be allowed to prescribe people medical shit, which he does
Medical-
with me,
right,
and
okay,
I guarantee hundreds of other people.
Okay, my point is, I'm a woman, right? You're not.
But
Yeah,
I
what's
am,
the-
and I'm a female.
You're not a
According to my
female.
according to my doctor, I am a
According to your
female,
doctor,
and I
you're
would rather
female.
take the advice of my doctor than you, because
Okay, what does he
because
do?
considering the fact that you still haven't answered my question about what your qualifications are, it would suggest that he has much more authority to speak on this than you do.
I will agree with that. But what I'm asking you is,
Right. So why
born
are
a
you trying to
male?
disagree with my doctor?
Your doctor sounds like shit. You were born a male, and he's trying to convince you that you're a female.
No, he isn't trying to convince me. I meet majority of the seeable characteristics,
you're not
like of the
understanding.
seeable
not
sex
female.
traits that would make me a female.
Well, you're not female. You must know that.
But I am.
Why?
Like if you would stop like repeating the same exact things, I could explain that to you.
But you've
And
not.
I
You just
tried to
don't
and I
want it.
tried to do that before, but then you just kept going on and on and
You were
on
born-
about how
you were born- you
you're
were-
not a female, you're not a female,
You're
blah blah
not,
blah blah
though.
blah. But I tried to explain to you how I am, and you aren't listening.
Because you were born with male genitalia. You are not a female.
But do
Hey,
you like? It's
Sophie.
obvious that you don't even care, because I've been sitting here trying to explain how I am considered one, and you aren't listening.
But the question is,
Hey,
were you born with male genitalia?
That literally doesn't matter.
It does.
It doesn't.
Wait, can I just one hey Sophie, you know what sex condition I have, correct?
Not exactly.
Oh, well, if you want, I can take this over in a minute and completely prove something, but if you just give me a second to go bring some food up to my sister, I'll be right back. And then I can, I have overtesthesis, by the way, Sophie, so that one won't throw her through the ring.
Anyway,
big question is,
out of
if
the
you,
5-6 traits, out of the 5-6 traits that I can have, I have 3 of them. That being the secondary sex characteristics of a
you're not a
female.
female.
Can you let me finish? Thank you. I have the secondary sex characteristics of a female. I have the hormone profile of a female, that being an estrogen-dominated body, and I have the chromosomes of a female, which is typically XX. So, according to this source and my doctor, and probably hundreds more doctors out there, I would be considered a female because of that.
There's also lots of
So
reasons
hang
to
on, you
treat
were
them.
born with XX chromosomes.
Yes.
Chromosomes don't determine sex. There's
Right,
not
I'm
one
confused.
single.
So
Let's be clear about this. There's not one single factor that determines if somebody's going to be a male.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying this entire time.
so what does determine male and female?
What?
It's a
What does
cluster of
determine a
things.
male or a female?
Cluster of characteristics which you need
Yeah,
the
I've
majority
been
of
saying
which are
this the whole
present.
time.
Okay,
Have you been listening?
Okay, so
Whoosh.
a baby that's born on the birth certificate as a male or female, what's the difference?
Okay,
Yeah.
on the birth certificate, it would go based on what the doctor sees. Typically, that would, either be male or female exclusively on what the gender is. I mean, not on the gender, on the genitals. But sometimes they do get it wrong.
Yeah, it's a visual inspection.
And how many times out of 100 did you get it wrong?
Not often.
I don't know. I just know that it's sometimes possible for them to get it wrong.
Yeah, it
So
is
on your
literally.
birth certificate it says female.
It's
No. Well,
so-
not yet, but it's going to be changed because of the fact
Okay,
that
so-
according
but
to my
point is,
doctor, I would be
you were
considered
born a
female.
male. You were born a male then.
Yeah, well, I was born identified as male.
Okay.
They looked at him and said, yeah, that's what a male normally looks like as a kid or as a child.
You also do the blood tests and
That's
stuff
what
like
I'm
that. So.
No, they don't do blood tests on babies to figure out what their
Yeah,
chromosomes
we don't
are.
karyotype.
The only times they do that is when something's wrong and they actually need to figure out what the chromosomes are to figure out if that's the reason it's wrong.
Well, I've had a
Karyotyping
child,
like
and I
with
know
me-
that
like with
I
me,
know that my child's had a
like-
blood test. So
Like with me, if like I in the future wanted to have kids and then, I tried to do it a bunch of times and then I would be like, why, what's happening? Why am I not being able to make kids? I
Have
would
you
go
got
to my
uterus?
doctor. I would like go to my doctor and be like, hey, why am I not able to like do it with a woman and have kids? And then they would be like, that's confusing. Let's check your chromosomes to see if that's what would happen.
Can I
And
ask
then
you
they
a
would have
question?
and then they
How
would have
could you
seen the
kids?
fact that I have XX chromosomes, and then they would be like, hey, you have this thing called De La Chapelle syndrome, which means that you're infertile and you can't have kids.
Okay, so can I ask you a question? How could you have kids naturally?
Did you bother to listen to literally anything I said, or were
Yeah,
you just
but
sitting there
tried to ask you
bitching
a
about
question.
whatever?
How
Well,
could
it
you have
doesn't
kids
matter
naturally?
necessarily too.
If
'cause,
you
like,
if you actually listened to what I was stating, you would have heard me state, I go to the doctor and say, hey, whenever I'm doing it with a woman, I can't get her pregnant. What's happening? And
So
then you
just
would have
said-
understood
hang
that
on.
I'm
Hang
not
on.
talking about me being the one carrying a child. I'm
Okay, so
talking
you-
about the
you
fact that
established the
I wouldn't
fact-
be able to get a woman pregnant.
You establish the fact that you have to produce a seed to get the egg fertilized. Yes.
I can't physically.
The
It is
reason why-
literally
the reason you
impossible
can't
for
is a
me to
different
do so.
conversation.
I am quite
But
literally
you tried.
infertile and have been from the day I've been born.
So you've been infertile since the day you've been born. In what way?
Yes. What do you mean in what way? I have never been able to produce sperm.
Okay. So we acknowledge
Because of the fact that I have De La Chapelle syndrome, I haven't been able to produce sperm. It is a thing with
Okay,
De
so
La
we-
Chapelle
we
syndrome that
acknowledge
makes
the
it
fact-
so you cannot produce that.
Okay, we acknowledge the fact that you were born a male. Yeah.
I was born identified as one, yes.
Okay,
This
so
is
you just
fine.
argue the fact that women that are females that are born female that can't produce eggs, they are still female. Yeah.
not necessarily.
Typically, yes.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not
So
necessarily.
you're typically a male.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Is that
and-
it?
Yeah. Carry on.
Where are we supposed to carry on from? because you're just literally denying science at this point, and
I'm
I'm
not denying
continuously
science.
sitting. You are, because I gave you a source that directly points to what I'm talking about, and it in the source it doesn't state anywhere or anything about how fucking chemical changes in someone's body, like, affects whether or not the sex traits count or don't count towards someone's gender
But
identity.
you,
I
you
mean, not
just
their gender identity, their
you
sex
just said
identity.
that you still have schmacks with women. That literally in itself, you can't
Well,
identify.
I don't
Wait,
have
do
that
lesbians not
kind, but
exist?
Lesbians can have sex.
yeah, apparently non-penetrative sex doesn't exist anymore.
But
And
if you said you tried to get someone
the
pregnant and you couldn't.
the point about me stating, like, all of that stuff about the whole, like, having sex with women, that was a hypothetical about me not knowing that I had De La Chapelle syndrome, and me giving an example as to why they would actually check someone's chromosomes, using myself as an example, using a hypothetical where I never learned I had De La Chapelle syndrome.
So, well,
Because
what age were you?
if I didn't, and then in the future, if I, like, went to want to have kids, and then I figure out that I can't have kids, I would be really fucking confused. And then I'd go to the doctor, and then he would tell me that I have this condition where I can't have kids.
But I thought you already said you've been to the doctor and said that you can't have kids because you've got Dashball
No,
syndrome.
so you're literally just proving that you haven't been listening. Because if you did, like, if you were, you would have been hearing the fact that I didn't do this. It's a hypothetical.
That's not what you said.
I never went to my doctor and said I can't have kids, because I don't want to have kids. At least not right now.
You haven't attempted least.
Like, I've literally never stated the fact that I have previously went to my doctor and said that, because I haven't.
But I thought you said that your doctor diagnosed you as female.
He has. That's an
Yes.
entirely different thing, and also a
So
fucking non sequitur.
Would
That
the
was
fact that
outside
you
the
can't,
conversation.
can't have kids not come into it?
Yeah, me being categorized as female by my doctor is a non sequitur to the fact that I never stated the fact that I went to the doctor and said that I can't have kids.
Okay, so can I ask you what your doctor's name is?
Dr. Ting. I don't know his first name.
He's Chinese.
I don't
Well,
know.
racist, isn't
That's
it?
extremely racist to hear an Asian name
Does
and
it
just say
matter?
Chinese.
It was a
I
fucking
don't.
question.
I don't assume the fact that he's Chinese. I just
it
know
matter?
that he has an Asian-sounding name, and I don't really care about what
Okay, but
race
you
he
would,
is beyond that.
know. You would know if you'd met him.
No, I didn't know my girlfriend was Indonesian until, like, a year into our relationship.
Okay,
Because
so
I don't care to ask people what their race is.
no, but
Because
I
I
mean,
don't care about what their
visibly,
race is. What?
So Dr. Tink is a prominent NYC plastic surgeon.
Okay, fun fact. I live in New Zealand, so you're talking about an entirely different Dr. Ting.
Okay,
It's almost like
yeah.
people have the same last name. Holy shit.
Yeah, so the fact that you're talking about a completely different person is extremely funny. I'm not telling you where he is, because that will lead to people pinpointing the city I live in, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
You just said
What?
from New Zealand.
Yeah, I don't want to actually tell you who he is, because then that will be able to, have people pinpoint where I am, and
people.
I
You just said
don't
New
want to be
Zealand, so-
doxxed. Yeah,
but
New Zealand is a big place with over 4 million people. It's not really that easy to find a singular person from 4 million people. It's a
I'm
lot
very good at
easier to
computers.
find. It's a lot easier to find out one person, like,
I'm
where they
very
live
good at
on whatever,
computers, and
based
the only
on
Dr. Ting in New
one
Zealand
city.
actually she's an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah, so just because you can't find information.
So, fun
on them,
fact,
does that
that's
mean
not
that
the
they don't
doctor.
exist?
That's not the doctor I'm talking about either.
Okay, but you don't know who your doctor is.
I do. I can search him up, but I'm not going to, because of the fact that
Why
I
would you
don't
have
want
to
to give
search
his
him up
actual
if
name.
you know who he is?
What? No, I can search him up to find out his first name, but I'm not going to, again, because of the fact that I don't want to dox myself.
No way, you don't want to dox yourself? That's crazy.
Who would have guessed that I don't want to put myself in danger about being a trans person in
Yeah, like
a live that's full of
I
transphobes? Who would have guessed?
Me.
Sophie, you should like totes reveal your exact coordinates on Google Earth at this very moment at latitude and longitude to pinpoint your
Oh
exact
yeah, I live at
location.
longitude 5. I don't actually know where longitude 5 is.
You don't know what longitude and latitude is, but you know all these
Longitude 5 is
sources
like
of all this
No, I
bullshit.
don't know where longitude 5 is. Holy fucking shit. Can you listen?
Isn't
Can
that
you?
isn't that really
I
far
am!
east on a map?
Longitude 5 is somewhere around Europe and Africa.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
somewhere around that.
Oh, iconic.
And a
memory.
nice one. So you're more towards me than where you actually are.
Oh, they're gone. Okay,
Yeah,
then.
I saw. They ran.
I
You know
didn't
what
even
was-
realize they left.
You know what was funny, Sophie, was I was about to say, I'm female from birth. I was about to fuck with them so much. With the
You're
fact
They
that
would have
I
had
have
a fucking
testes and stuff.
aneurysm.
I was so ready. That's why I said, just give me a minute to go give food to my sister and that. And I could fuck with them.
you could pass
But
on
Hey,
as a guy
I
on
think
hold
it was
on,
funny
sorry. Ms. Mocha in the comments talking about how this is grape and like unconsensual or whatever. Yeah, it isn't, because you can do this simple thing called pressing the X button at the top right of your corner and leaving. Also, everyone in the comments asking what bi-lesbian is. The common way of using it is bi-romantic homosexual. I use it in the terms of bisexual homoromantic.
My bad. I made the mistake of thinking it was bi with a preference for women, but that's my stupidity because I'm forgetful.
I know
Although,
Melon.
why did someone ask me, "Are you reform?" To put that in context, reform is essentially the MAGA of the UK.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not good.
your reform, yeah, clearly.
I'm such a reform voter, me.
Sabrina in the comments calling us AGPs. I'd love to point out to you, in fact, that there was a second study done after the first study about the fucking AGP males or whatever, where they did the exact same study but on a group of cisgender women, and it actually showed that about 80% of those cisgender women would be identified as, AGPs.
That does not shock me at all.
Ms. Mocha, if you feel like your brain is bleeding, leave. No one is forcing you to be here. The only person forcing you is you.
Yeah, I'm not holding you hostage.
Like unlike the thing that you're stating, it's like no one is forcing you to be here.
They muted them. Thanks, like solving their own problem. AGPs aren't female. Well, that's like I don't know. I just don't even play into whole Blanchard's typology, because typology is shit and it's like not accepted medically because it just lacks evidence. It's as simple as that.
Where did it go? What? Why can't I find it? Sorry. I'm gonna give another PubMed source that actually gives the thing about the like cisgender women being considered autogynephiles or whatever. Also, I technically lied. It isn't 80% of cisgender women would be classed as AGPs. It's 93%.
Even more.
Although, quote, using a more rigorous definition of, quote, frequent arousal to multiple items, it would be bumped down to 28%. But in general, according to the source, 93% of cisgender women would be considered AGPs. I have so many links for so many sources, and like 4 of them for some reason is about the effects of corporal punishment against kids. because
Damn,
people
that's
need
crazy.
them. What is that picture saying?
It's realistic revolver ocelot. What are you on about?
Wait, but why does it look so much like that one guy from Starship Troopers?
I don't know, but it's a very realistic picture of revolver ocelot for real. Definitely not some random guy's face cropped onto an image of the original game. You know, that would never happen.
Hey, Transalpine.
Hi, I didn't want to interrupt, but
Oh.
I had a question for Sophie, if that's okay.
Yeah, hi. I was wondering when you'd show up.
Sorry about
all
that.
good.
Sophie, I was just wondering about those first two sources that you gave about trans people competing in sports. I was wondering if I could get the PIDs for those.
Okay. I just gotta write them down. Also, can someone mute RX in the comments? Because he's basically just conflating trans people to Epstein now.
Oh, yep.
The first one is going to be the main link, the impact of gender-affirming hormone therapy on physical performance. And the second one, hold on. The second one is effects of gender-affirming hormones on athletic performance in trans women and trans men, implications for sporting organizations and legislators.
Who keeps playing that?
Sorry, could you repeat that second one? I'm so sorry.
Effect of gender-affirming hormones on athletic performance in trans women and trans men, implications for sporting organizations and legislators.
Can someone tell me why my keyboard just tried to autocorrect the word sound to soybean?
Because it obviously likes soybeans.
It's making you go woke, making you take the estrogen soy boy genes now.
Damn, that's crazy.
Okay, I got both. Thank you so much. You can drop me.
Oh, okay. Bye. I appreciate you being respectful.
I like how that person was up here this whole time to everything just to politely ask that. I feel so bad.
I appreciate them being respectful about. Oh, your friend. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
You know, I expected him to be friendly after that, but like, oh my god. I felt so bad that they waited that long listening to all that bullshit.
Yeah, you could
Just
have
for two
interrupted earlier.
sources.
That would have been totally cool.
I'm getting so much good information for my story.
Story?
Okay, so I'm writing this like romance story, and I'm getting to like the bedroom fun time scenes, and I don't know what to write, so I'm like asking people about like those kinds of feelings and all of that, and yeah.
Go on some like furry disc. You'll find some creep.
No, but okay, so I'm
Please don't
specifically
forget.
so I'm specifically asking cis women purely, or like just people who have like the anatomy of a female, of like the typical female, purely because of the fact that I have never experienced that kind of stuff with a cis woman before, and the story is about a trans woman and a cis woman. So I don't know how to explain it. So I'm asking people, how do you explain this stuff? Like, how do you write this stuff?
It's magic.
But
It's no.
that would be an actually very funny way to explain it, because in the story, magic actually exists.
Wunderbar. How's
I don't know
the
why, but you're
weather
saying
down there
Wonderblatt.
in New Zealand?
Huh?
I'm joking. I was just asking how the weather is down there. I'm trying to have like small talk.
It's surprisingly very sunny.
That's good.
That
I
was
looked
what I
outside,
thought.
I can't see clouds for shit.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking earlier today. It was surprisingly sunny for the UK, but it actually
Holy shit,
wasn't.
the UK has sun?
Surprisingly, today it was basically sunny, no clouds. It just wasn't warm today. The only time we typically get sun is very rarely outside of the 2 week period where we get one of the worst heat waves known to man with like 99% humidity.
You know
But
what?
look,
It's actually pretty sunny here in Houston.
It's pretty
it's just a
sunny here
sunny
in
day today,
Colorado.
people.
It's not in
But just
Winnipeg.
worldwide sun. That's it.
Well, it's Canada, so what do you expect?
You're from New Zealand? Have you ever seen a tuatara?
Outside of a zoo, no.
Oh,
In a kiwi?
they're so cool.
I
Well,
think like
I've seen
one
seen a
singular
kiwi.
time. Like obvious, like outside of a zoo, I've seen one specific time, and that's when I was going hunting for possums with my uncle.
I mean, I see a kiwi right now, so you know.
Oh, fuck off, Snake.
You ever seen some of
Hey,
the stuff that y'all wrote on your warplanes in World War II? One of them has this nose art saying like, "Who said the bitch couldn't fly?" And they have a picture of like a pissed off kiwi with like wings like strapped to it. It's really funny.
Oh my god, have you
that's
guys seen the Bob's sample tank?
Oh god.
It is the okay, it is the absolute best tank ever.
Oh, surely.
That is a tiny picture.
Surely, yeah.
I'm just gonna like turn on my camera to show you guys for a sec, because it's amazing. The Bob Simple tank.
You get big box quality. What's the armor thickness?
I don't know. I just know that it's a tractor with 4 machine guns on it.
Oh, so it's like it's probably like 6 to 9 millimeters. I'm guessing is the thickness.
I could probably figure it out if I
The 37mm turret does not have any extra armor.
8 to 12 millimeters of armor, with the main armaments being... Oh, no, I was wrong. It's not 4, it's 6. Bren
Okay,
light
turret.
machine guns.
But eight. You said 8 to 12 millimeters. That's not bad for me to say 6 to 9.
What is a BMP's?
69.
What is it?
Oh my god, it has an operational range. It has a max speed of 24 kilometers an hour.
I think Sweden has Glocks that could shoot through this. I'm not kidding.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Sweden's 6.5mm. It's a neat round. The idea is that you could change the barrel on like a Glock and use the same mags. So it's like 9mm casing neck down, and it can punch through like BMP armor, which is nuts. From like literally a factory handgun. Otherwise, it's just a barrel swap. Has New Zealand actually designed any other tanks?
As far as I know, no. The Bob Simple tank is the only one that New Zealand has ever built.
I mean, Britain invented the first tank, so I'll take that.
Oh wait, no,
The
there
Schofield
is the
tank.
Bob Simple and the Schofield tank,
Oh my god!
which actually looks a lot better.
What the fuck?
It's still kind of shit, but it's a lot better.
It looks like it actually has a turret for once that could actually
It
maybe
actually
damage
it
something.
does. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. I
I
have
can
images
see
of it.
now.
Armor of 6 to 10 millimeters, and
So the armor is thinner.
the armor is indeed thinner than the Bob Simple. Why are they such small pictures?
I was gonna say, I mean, it's probably small to make sure that it doesn't look crappy with low
Oh my
resolution.
god. That's it. It's
I mean, that it's menacing, but you could punch through that like paper.
yeah,
That
most guns at that point would have been able to punch through it. But honestly,
Like
I find
paper.
it funny. It just looks a like a weird militarized version of a Batman vehicle.
to
Oh
be
my god, it
honest,
actually does.
It
I'm
just
pretty
look
sure.
like if you just add on like bat wings at the back, it'll just be a like it'll just be a regular vehicle from a Batman movie.
I'm pretty sure y'all just made them to say, "Hey, we also have a tank."
Probably.
This is just a Chevrolet truck that's been converted into a tank. I kid you not. It uses a suspension from a universal carrier. It uses a Chevy 6-cylinder, and it uses literally a chassis from a Chevrolet truck. It's great. Did they have anything? Anything more new that y'all have worked on?
No. Wait.
We have a requester.
We did.
We have ein request stoked.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, we don't
Going.
even make any plans.
Oh, girl.
Do you disagree?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Why?
Because I just noticed that the people arguing for this like very extreme like body mutilation, whatever, it usually is like fat retards that look as ugly as you. So I just think we
Wow.
Oh,
Imagine.
you really have to throw the R slur in there.
Well, yeah, because otherwise we would have sat here for like 10 minutes arguing with them. And like
Hey,
thinking they were serious.
make it quick. Make it quick, I guess. I was
Exactly. I would
waiting
rather them have a say a slur within 5 seconds, so we can just kick them instantly, rather than
Yeah, I
having
know.
to sit here for 10 minutes listening to the shit before getting kicked.
Nah, you see, Sophie, I'd listen to them for 10 minutes, but I would just instantly flip it on them just to rage bait them. Because it's funnier when they're angry.
I was
Yeah,
just
it's like
hoping for
how
them to get a little creative and make something new.
it's like how those people just make up the argument being like, if trans women are women, why do you have to put trans in front of it? Just fucking rage baiting them by saying it. If trans women aren't women, why do you call them women?
I've never even
'Cause
tried that one. I just go,
it's an
okay,
equally
if tall
low
women... No, I
on
just go, if
bus.
tall women are women, then why do you call them tall? If pretty women are women, why do you call them pretty? And things like that, and they start to go, but that's different. How? They're both adjectives, and they start to fumble on their words.
Oh my god, Cookie Clicker has
Oh,
over
God.
600 achievements.
You don't want to know what the Schofield's full name is.
Let's go.
It's the Schofield Wheel Come Track Tank.
Wait, what?
Amazing.
I posted it in the comments. Wheel Come Track Tank.
Where are you getting that?
Sounds like a BDSM machine.
Yeah, yeah, it's literally from a book. It's called the Schofield Truck Tank, New Zealand's famous wheel come track armor fighting vehicle. That's hilarious.
Who's playing with aluminum foil? You're making my teeth hurt.
I'm sorry, the what?
The aluminum foil.
My bad. I'm just foiling up my tray of pasta bake so that I can refrigerate it for tomorrow because we've only had about half of it.
Wait,
Have y'all seen the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie?
oh my god, yes, they're doing the man spider.
No, they're not doing Man Spider. They're doing the other. It's a somewhat similar story with a different outcome.
Well, I was saying they're doing the man spider because he, like, you know, gaining abilities over, or not abilities, like, similarities to that of an actual spider.
There
So-
looks like there was one more tank designed in New Zealand. It was the Mills Traveling Motor Fortification Charging Device. It was never built.
Hold on, what was it?
It's the Mills Traveling Motor Fortification and Charging. I'll just copy this. That's the full name of it. Mills Traveling Motor
Mills
Fortification.
Traveling Tank Encyclopedia. It doesn't even have a picture for it.
Yeah.
Oh, tankus.
I see. Apparently, New Zealand has made planes. The thing is that most of them were mainly for training, and none of them are military.
Yeah, you guys stopped making stuff in like 98 for cars.
Yeah.
A Trekka? What is this? Oh, this is yeah. Yeah, this looks like something New Zealand. Let's go to Trekka. I love it.
Oh, that.
Request stop horse.
I forgot about that
Pussy.
vehicle. It's so funny. It looks like a Jeep, but it's like a Temu, a Temu Jeep.
But yeah, supposedly, we're supposed to either have it hinted at some point in the movie that Spider-Man interacts with the other, or we will see the other, which is just basically Spider-God.
Oh my god, they're gonna actually bring in fucking spider totems?
Probably.
I really hope they do, because I want to, like, I want more of that in, you know, in the MCU. Because, like, according to the MCU, according to, like, I think it's across the Spider-Verse, like, the existence of Peter Parker is canon within that. Meaning that according to the MCU, Across the Spider-Verse is canon. So, that means that spider totems exist.
Okay, I don't know what I left on and what I came back to, but I ain't gonna complain because that actually sounds pretty fucking interesting.
I mean, it does fit the theme of this whole Spider-Verse, though, because it's an interconnected web connecting every single Spider-Man.
I know, right? It's like, I just really want them to actually add in spider totems to the MCU.
Oh my god, guys, I just got the best gameplay hint in history for Payday 2, right? The gameplay hint: headshots will deal extra damage.
What?
Mind-blowing.
Motor Corporation. What's its full build?
Yeah, the abilities he's supposed to be getting with, or after he meets the other, and the other basically gives them the ultimatum of fully embrace your spider side or perish to your mutations. He's going to be getting organic webbing, which we've seen in the trailer. He's going to be getting night vision, organic night vision. He will be getting all of his current superpowers buffed to a new extreme. He's going to be getting wrist stingers, which is going to be really cool. Yes.
How would that work? How would he
It's
not
kind of
is it
like
going to be like an assassin blade, like from the Assassin's
kind of like an assassin's blade, but it injects venom.
Oh, you guys did build some universal carriers. 1,200
Yeah.
of them in World War II.
Yeah, I don't think we make much military stuff now.
Yeah, it's literally like a little tiny box that like might be able to shrug off some lighter rounds, but it's open top.
Yeah. I think as a whole, New Zealand has kind of been like very anti-military since like
Who the fuck's gonna invade you? Let's be real. You're way out there.
yeah.
The UK.
I'm not even joking. There was an actual like during the 90s there was an actual political party that brought up the fact about what we could do in a possible invasion, and the suggestion they gave is to remove all military funding and instead spend all of it on beer bottles, like just regular beer. And then what you do with that is you put them all over the beaches of New Zealand, so that when the people who are invading come onto the beaches of New Zealand, they'll see the beer bottles and then they'll start drinking that instead of invading New Zealand. And then they start getting drunk, in which case the New Zealanders will be like, "Yo, party," and then we just start having a party.
That sounds like a pretty effective plan if it was the British who were trying to invade again.
Hold on. I can find it. I just need to actually remember.
Hey,
There it is.
Stowe, is it bad that I'm currently playing Payday 2 and I'm cooking METH, but instead of the regular lab, I'm cooking it in in a lab that's about 1,000 times my size, and I'm like a little rat in a bedroom for scale comparison, and it's like the lab is in the bedroom, and so I'm having to run across that place while being raided by tiny sized police as well.
I don't know if that's good or I don't know. I haven't played Payday, so this is kind of going whoosh. I wonder
I
if
didn't
there's
even know this
any
map
like ultra
existed.
low. I guarantee you, I would hope that there's some like quirky New Zealand vehicle that's been made that's like super low production, like 1,200 or something being made, and or like 400 or something. And I just
Yeah,
gotta know about it.
Okay, so there's a massive list of policies for this party, so I'm not going to name all of them. I'm just going to name two. It's called the McGillicuddy Serious Party, if you want to like read the rest of them. But the first policy that's listed is free dung.
Wasn't that something to do with like your granddad or something, or someone related
No,
to
it
them?
was my friend's dad was like a was like one of the founders of it, I think.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning something like that. I just couldn't quite remember.
Yeah, and the second one is about the beer bottles thing. Using beer as a national defense strategy, leaving bottles of beer on all the beaches so that any invading army would abandon its attack and get drunk, while the broken bottles would prevent the army from advancing any further.
Yeah, I think that sounds a lot greater in theory than it would do in practice. They'll just take it and then drink it later.
Exactly,
Congratulations.
it's so funny though.
You've given them a bunch of recreation, and they're gonna want to stay here until they've drinking all the beer.
Now, why don't they just invade and then use the beer as a celebration party after the invasion, though?
You've literally given them a reason to invade New Zealand then.
Also,
For the beer.
Yeah.
not to mention, you've also got an even bigger problem because now you don't just have a bunch of drunk men on the beach. You've got a bunch of armed drunk men on the beach.
Yeah.
Y'all are having your own problems with this as well. We'll be fucking up.
Yeah,
Ow.
if the name didn't suggest otherwise, this was an entirely joke party. Majority of their policies is just, why don't we take this other policy that another party has made and then just make it entirely unserious?
I like it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like,
talking about the McGillicuddy
Vermin-
serious party.
Reminds me of like Vermin Supreme, where everybody gets a pony.
There was the setting up a frivolous fraud office to investigate any fraud deemed too silly for the serious fraud office.
What? No, Sophie, you said that and I started laughing so much that I accidentally missed my jump and fell about 1,000 feet and broke my legs. I broke my legs, I'm now down.
wait, there's linking the North Island and South Island by bulldozing the southern Alps into Cook Strait.
Limiting the speed of light to 100 k's an hour or 50 k's an hour on Mount Roskill, which is Auckland's Bible Belt, which folks have preferred to stay less enlightened.
What party is this?
The McGillicuddy Serious Party. There's also at the third to last policy they have is good weather (parentheses) but only if voters behaved.
Post-natal abortion, making abortion illegal for anyone
What does that mean?
18. Why did she do it?
What are they gonna send like a typhoon after the people who
Yeah,
didn't behave?
if the voters didn't behave, they just send a typhoon. Then there's also
restricting the vote to minors. Only those under the age of 18 could vote.
Yeah, then there's the second to last, full employment by carpeting the national highways. This would also save wear and tear on tires. And then the last policy, breaking its promises.
Airbags for New Zealand stock exchanged.
Building dreadnoughts in the Tamaki estuary. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, there's also a potato famine. There's a guy called Jim Bolger. Jim Bolger's somewhat pockmarked countenance bore an unfortunate resemblance to a potato. Much to his displeasure, he was widely known as Spud. The New Zealand Air Force was, with a typically Kiwi lack of reverence, christened his Boeing 727 Spud 1.
Replacing Royal New Zealand Armoured Corps with mounted knights claiming their more.
Oh my god, he literally does look like a potato. So his nickname was Spud, and they named his plane Spud 1.
Voting for trees, what the fuck?
Abolition of money, replacing with chocolate fish or sand.
Yeah, voting for trees.
Full unemployment or full employment through slavery.
Yeah.
Diversion of aluminium production away from building US military
That sounds
aircraft embassies.
amazing,
Giant space
honestly.
mirrors to melt the
For real.
whole ice cap to destroy all of the foolish greed-worshipping cities of man in one stroke, thereby returning man to the sea, which he should have never left in the first place.
Diversion of aluminum production
Raising
away
the
from
school leaving age to 65.
Wow.
diverting aluminum products away from building U.S. military aircraft and missiles to build a giant space mirror to melt the polar ice caps and destroy all the foolish greed-worshipping cities of man in one stroke, thereby returning man to sea, which he could have never have left in the first place.
Seems like such a serious party, you know. Wouldn't give it.
the funny thing is that they've gotten 0.61% of the vote at most at one point.
Yeah,
It's-
there was a point where they ended up getting like 0.6% of the
That's
vote.
over 0.5% of a vote, or of the population, which is hilarious because that's just like actually a percentage almost.
And the
There was
population is 4 million. So scale that up to how many voters?
12,000.
there was one where they got 2.91% of the vote. Another where they got 1.93%. A lot of them, like, they end up getting around 1%.
Fucking gets gunned down.
This is just in general election. Mayor elections, somebody got 2.9%. Came in fourth. Come in third once. Second, they've gotten second once. Pretty good.
They did.
New Orleans man charged with possession of child.
I think we just need more joke political parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there's a whole list of frivolous. I just found the list of frivolous political parties.
Oh my god, I want to point this one out specifically. I'm pretty sure it was mentioned offhanded once. The votes for trees.
Oh,
New
yeah.
Zealanders have a reputation as environmentalists, and the University of Auckland's ex-Marxist law lecturer Klaus Bosselman seriously advocated giving trees (parentheses) and other bits of the environment some legal standing. The party could not decide on whether native trees should have the option to vote in Māori electorates, whether male trees as well as female trees should vote, and on the status of shrubs.
You know
So,
what?
they had three different things that they couldn't decide on, and that being native trees getting a vote in the Māori electorates, male and female trees being able to vote, and just shrubs counting.
Where do shrubs go in this all? The fact that they actually thought about it kind of cracks me.
We should give trees in the U.S. birthright citizenship so they can't be cut down anymore.
True.
I mean, in the UK, there is protected class trees. Like, if there are certain trees on certain bits of land, it is illegal to cut them down with fines and even sometimes prosecution and jail time.
Oh yeah, tree law is yeah, tree law is not the whole branch. Get it? It's a branch of law. Sorry.
Oh my god.
That was a dad joke and a half there. No, it's like really serious though, is that there's a whole lot of law regarding like if a tree grows over your property, if you're allowed to cut it, or if the fruit falls down, is it yours? Like like
Politicians are a little stumped on how to classify those.
Oh my god.
there's a shocking amount
Okay,
of
but
like law that just goes into just the most bullshit of things, like bro.
But like it's a fruit. Why would there be a law against eating a certain fruit?
Because it came from a tree that's on somebody else's lawn or property.
Yeah, it's more specifically talking about trees that other people own.
Yeah.
Do the fruit from their tree that fall onto your land count as your property or theirs?
Yeah, it's really
I
niche.
think it should be shared property and neighbours should eat it together.
Just yeah. I don't know. It's all of it. I feel like is just something got blown way out of proportion, so somebody made a fucking law about it.
It's kind of the same thing as, oh, the fence is
And
over
your
the
average
property
nigger short
line.
twist nigger.
It's just-
Yep.
What?
Bruh.
And it where it sits legally though, it's like the same issue as Karen wants the fence moved over 6 inches, so it's on the property line. That's about where it sits.
Owie.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just
Jesus.
sorry.
My eardrums. Might my eardrums please not be assaulted by a level of sound that was unexpected?
Here, you'll get a where are you? Salt. Oh, I don't. Anyways, I think I'm gonna end stream here.
Wow.
Hey,
Okay.
thanks everyone.
All right.
I'll
Is
try
the live
to-
ending?
What?
Is the live ending?
Yeah, I'll try to go live sometime later this week. Thanks for everybody
Oh,
for
okay.
coming. Have a good day, guys.
You
Bye.
also have a good
Bye.
day, so...
Don't tell me how to live my.
Okay. Okay. I'll just keep cooking METH and Payday
Oh, hi
then.
Cole. Funny timing.